Hello and welcome to the Big League Show. As always, I'm joined by Aiden Celifant, and this week we're joined by the guest who we've been trying to get on for what's it been? Like
Wow,
3 months now?
3 months?
man,
Really? It's been that long?
Don't do me like that.
No, say it's not your fault at all.
No. Yeah, the first time we tried to get Skyler on, he was fixing his basement.
Which it's done. I'm in my basement right now.
Yes, it is done. It looks good from the video feeds that we've seen in class. And I believe you've had like a class during our time slot.
I have a class from 3 to 4, but it's like a little 1 hour thing, so I'm okay with missing that.
Literally right
well,
the time of our show, 3 to 4. So it's been impossible to get him on the past like 3 weeks, but hey, we appreciate
difficult.
We appreciate it now that you
Yes.
end of the semester.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're glad. Yeah, like we mentioned to you before, we've been trying to get you on, and we've been talking about you a little bit in the past 2 episodes. So with Jelani and Emil, so should be an interesting one today.
Yeah.
My goal with this episode is to cause as much beef as possible.
Golly.
Because
I'm not a part of it. That's all Connor. That's all Connor.
We'll see what I can do. I'm gonna try to manipulate my way to some sort of success, but I highly doubt anything will happen because I doubt both of them are listening to this show. But if you are, hey Jelani, hey Emil, how you guys doing? But yeah, why don't we just sort of jump in? It's actually first we should start off with the elephant in the room, which unfortunately nobody can see.
Oh no.
Because we don't have the video feed going. But Mr. Aiden Celifant is now a member of the Babyface Battalion, as I like to call ourselves.
No way. You shaved?
Yeah, I shaved it off. I shaved it off.
Oh, snap.
I know, man. I thought it was a good time to do it, like end of November. Like if I was to do it, like you probably do it December 1st. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to grow it back. I'm not sure yet. Like I've been getting some compliments, but I've also been getting people saying like, yeah, I look like a kid. I look like a baby. So
Hey man, just embrace it. Embrace it. For the ones that physically cannot grow facial hair, just embrace it.
That's true.
Exactly.
I guess so. Yeah. You're right. You're 100% right about that.
Did either of you realize I was doing Movember?
No,
Nah, I'm not gonna lie.
I did not.
Exactly. Exactly. So some of us aren't quite as lucky as Aiden is, but I'm sure there will be pictures on social media of him without the mustache.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I thought I'd bring it up because I don't know if many people have realized if they don't have Snapchat.
I got an interesting cold open coming for my next Unlimited podcast about the mustache, so stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Nice. So go and check that out. I assume that's going to be your next episode?
Yeah, it's going to come out this week. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
All right. So if you want to see Aiden looking like a baby face, go and check out the next Unlimited podcast because this might be a rare sight, barring whether or not he grows it back.
It's already starting to come back a little bit, so.
Already?
Well, I mean, like, you can see some hairs, like, coming back already, but I might have to just keep shaving it to make sure it stays off.
I shaved yesterday, and it looks like I don't have any like I've shaved 20 minutes ago.
All right, I think we should move on.
Fair.
I think we should move on to Skyler now.
Yes, we should definitely move on to Skyler, who can grow facial hair.
A little bit, man. A little bit.
Yeah. You think you've got do you still have the goatee going?
Yeah. I'm actually been trying to grow it out a little bit more, but now Aiden's kind of putting me to shame because he's saying, "Oh, I just shaved mine. It's already growing back." I usually have to shave like once a week, and then that's just me trying to shave something that's not even there. But yeah,
no, it's not like fully grown back. It's just like little hairs you can already start to see. It's only been a day. Like that, it happens. It happens.
If you couldn't tell, there's quite a bit of jealousy on Skyler and I's part.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have guessed that actually.
it's weird. Like I'm jealous, but at the same time, I'm happy I don't have to spend money on like shaving cream and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
That's a trick. You get an electric razor where you don't need shaving cream.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It comes up so clutch because it takes no time at all. Tip for anybody who can't grow facial hair or is getting to that point where they're starting to grow facial hair. But let's stop talking about facial hair because this is actually a sports podcast and radio show, if you didn't realize. And today we are going for 2 hours. We were lucky enough to get an extra time slot before our usual time slot, which is right in the middle of Skyler's class.
I believe it's a season finale as well. So
This
should
is the
this should be
season
the
finale.
last episode. Yes.
Yes, is the season finale on Spirit Live. We hope to be back next semester.
Mhm.
We will apply again because we enjoy doing these shows. And I think this semester's been a success. Would you say so? Both you and Skylar, because Skylar,
Yeah.
you have your own
Yeah. Northside
show
Talks.
with Alphabet.
How's that been going for you this semester on Spirit Live?
Yeah, it's been good. It's obviously it's real different because online and all that kind of stuff. So I know at first it was a bit tough because some of us didn't have the right earphones and stuff, so you're getting whole lot of feedback. And then it's tough because you're hearing the echo from you talking or someone else talking in the call. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty much all the same. I remember, like, I think what was it, a week or two ago? You guys probably got the same email. It's like a like your little midterm review for
Yes.
Spirit Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing they said about us was so like they liked the topics, all that kind of stuff, but it was just because the natural like the I mean, I'm sure you guys kind of know like just of how we are like in class. We talk like we argue a lot, and it's like it's louder. You know what I mean? So it's a bit harder to pick everything up when we're online like this and we're talking over each other. So we have to try and limit how much we chime in, all that kind of stuff. But it's been good though. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic doing it online. Like there is a little bit of a delay, which you do notice at times. But yeah, it's a very interesting experience. And if you didn't have like a good mic at home, it's been, I think, kind of difficult for people. But why don't we continue talking about you and some of the stuff that you've done? And we're going to start with the question that we start every show with when we have a guest on, which has been for the past 4 episodes.
Yeah.
23, 24 of the last 25 episodes that we've done. We've had a guest, and we always start it with, or we haven't always, but we now start it with the same question every time. And that is, what is your first memory of sports? And what is your first memory of sport media?
Oh, dang. First memory of sports. What the hell? I think
to start it off tough.
that's deep, I think honestly my first so obviously I'm a soccer guy. Like I'm a real big soccer guy, but my dad is a huge football fan. So I think when I was younger, it was probably around the Super Bowl. I don't remember which one, but the one that stands out to me was I think it was 2007, 2008. I don't know. There was a Super Bowl with it was the Patriots against the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this crazy helmet catch
David
that
Tyree.
that. And I remember like I was a little bit of a fan of the Patriots just because of Tom Brady, and like my dad obviously was a Tom Brady fan. So I remember just being crushed at that point, and I think that was honestly the first memory that I can think back to, anyways. In terms of first memory of sport media,
Are you sure it was that? Hold up.
Yeah, I think so.
That was 2012.
No way was that
Was it
2012.
2012? It might have been.
I just looked it up. Patriots New York Super Bowl, February 5th, 2012.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
2012. Yo, is my memory that bad?
No. You're wrong.
No.
It's 2008.
I am? What?
Yeah.
I was gonna say it had to have been 2008.
Yeah, it was 2008. I mean, the Patriots were in a lot of Super Bowls, so I'm sure Connor's
Yeah.
looking at one in 2012 where the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. 2012.
Yeah, it says New England versus New York on Wikipedia. I'm so confused. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I hope it's 2008 for
did
the
it
sake of my
happen?
memory.
Were
Did
they?
it happen twice? It happened twice. That's why.
Did they play each other twice? Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, 2008 and 2012.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
So,
the Giants?
so I'm not going crazy.
That's so weird. The Giants
It was
beat the
the,
Patriots twice in those Super Bowls. They were 2-0
Yeah,
against
I
them.
think the 2008 one, or one of those two Super Bowls, was the one where the Patriots had like a perfect season and they went undefeated, except for the Super Bowl. They
Right.
lost.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So that was one of my first memories of sports that I can think back to. In terms of sport media, it's weird because like I don't even think I knew about sport media until like the year I applied for it. And I don't know if that was like a common thing just because there's like those university fairs and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go I went to the university fair, I think it was like grade 12 or grade 11, something like that. And I was walking. I wanted to get into kinesiology at like Western, so I was walking to the Western booth or to the kinesiology booth at Western, and like I'm walking fast, and you see Ryerson, and there's a sport media thing, and I was like, "What the heck is this? Like I've never heard about this before." So I went over, And this guy was talking to me for like 2 hours. I still remember the guy's name. The guy's name was Connor Sims. I haven't been able to find him or anything like that on social media, but I talked to him for like 2 hours, and he was like explaining the whole program. And then like I was just so sold on it that I didn't even end up going to the kinesiology booth. I just went right back home because I was like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this for sure. That's the first memory probably of sport media.
That is a little risky.
And no, it was because it was scary too. Because he was saying about the what was it, like the acceptance rate stuff and how small of a program it was.
Yeah.
But like I think at the time I wasn't really thinking too much about that. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And yeah, I pretty much just was sold on that and just went home. I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm doing in school.
Yeah, I think the acceptance rate for this year we applied was what, like 10%?
Yeah, something crazy. But like it's weird. To me, it doesn't feel like 10% because like I knew one other guy that was applying, and it was Jelani, and we were in the same school.
And you both
and
got
he
in,
got yeah, we both got in. So it's like everyone I knew got accepted in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, and we talked to Jelani a bit about that, which you can go and check that episode if you want to hear about his story. But yeah, it was you two have a very similar story, don't you, in terms of discovering the program pretty late, sort of applying together in a way, even though you weren't doing it at the same time, like together. So how much do you think his influence and his relationship with you impacted your application, or how much do you think your relationship with him impacted his application to Ryerson?
I remember like in school, so we were always like the two kind of sports heads in a way. Like, I mean, obviously we hung out with other people that were able to talk sports, but me and him were the only two that were like, I want to say more versatile with talking, meaning we could go from soccer, basketball, football, and then some, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I found out about this program, it was around the time where everyone was starting to look at university, everyone was applying. So I told him, I was like, hey, there's this sports media program. You should, you and me should do this. We should try to get in. Because I remember in high school, we were talking about doing like a radio show, which I guess that kind of translates to Northside Talks.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, it was kind of like when he said, okay, I'm applying, and I said I'm applying, I feel like just because both of us were very like competitive in that way, where it was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to let this guy get in and I'm not getting in. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a friendly competition in the sense of, okay, he got in, I have to get in now,
Right.
And it was just, it was one of those. So like every day at school, we would talk and be like, hey, did you do this? Because there's a whole bunch of prerequisites. You guys remember like a couple papers you needed to write and like interviews or recommendations and stuff. Yeah. And so every time we go to school, we'd ask like, okay, yo, did you do this? Did you do that? Yeah, I'm doing it on this day, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So we were coordinated a lot in terms of when we were applying. It was cool.
So do you think that if Jelani wasn't at your school and you guys weren't applying together, do you think you would have applied for this program, like even if you didn't know Jelani?
Yeah, 100%. I think I definitely would have, just because like the nature of it, it's such an interesting program. You know what I mean? Like it's media, but specific to sports, and that's like that's gold for a lot of us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just didn't even sound real that was an actual program. So yeah, 100%, I would have still applied.
That's really interesting. Like the impact that you two had on each other. So I want to know, well, this isn't to start any drama, but which of you got in first? Was it you or was it Jelani?
Oh man, can I say this? Yeah, why not? You know what's weird? I think I got in first, but I'm not 100% sure. The only reason why is because I think I got in pretty early. Like I was chilling for a while before like school was actually over. So I was like maybe just starting second semester of grade 12, or maybe at the end of first semester of grade 12 when I got the acceptance thing.
Wait, what? Sorry, when you got the interview? When you got the interview acceptance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I was talking about actually accepted into the program. I was like, hold up, you got in at the end of your first semester? That would have been nuts.
I know I got in very early. Like I got in super, like a lot earlier than other people did. Like it was like an early acceptance.
It must have been in March then, like right.
Yeah, maybe around then. So second semester, something like that. But I think it was me. But at the same time, I'm not sure. Like maybe he just didn't want to say nothing. I don't know. But
I think he said with us it was early May.
Yeah,
correct?
Around my date.
It was
like May 4th. Yeah.
We were all around the same date.
Yeah, so I think mine was around in March, like you guys said, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just know it was early.
So you got the interview early or like late in first semester. You got that acceptance. So how was that process like? Like, how did you find out you got the interview? First of all, what were you feeling like after you got that? Were you excited? Were you nervous? And just tell us about that interview process. Who did you have, etc.
Honestly, it's funny because like, so when I was applying to Ryerson, like before I even like finished the actual applications and all that stuff and got accepted into the interview, I looked at I forgot who told me. Someone told me about this program at Seneca, and it was like a TV broadcasting program. And for like a little while, I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna do the Seneca one instead, just because there wasn't as much prerequisites. I didn't have to do as much to get in. And my parents were like, no. We went finish the application and just see what happens. So I was like, okay, cool. Did the application, and then when I got the interview, it was weird. Like I was really excited because I was like, holy crap, this could really happen. But then I was hella nervous as well because it was like, okay, yo, this is actually serious, you know? And
Yeah.
I remember when they sent out the email, there were like time slots that they gave us. Like you can come from, like there's time slots from this date at this time to this time or whatever. I picked the very first time slot, like without any hesitation, just because I wanted to get it over with. And
Wow.
I think it was early in the morning, and I remember like I went downtown. I think it was my dad. I think he was working that day, so we took the train down together. Mind you, this is like my first time like properly commuting, and then really being in that area for school purposes.
Right.
And I got there super early, like an hour and a half before the interview. But it was weird, like waiting in the room. I thought I was going to be more nervous, but I kind of got more and more calm as things went on. And then the actual interview itself, I don't remember who I had. All I remember is the guy talked more than me in the interview.
Huh.
Like it was supposed to be my interview, but yet I was giving an answer and he was like cutting me off and speaking over me. And I was like, all right, go ahead. Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but he was talking more than I was. And I was like, okay, I think this is okay then, I guess, if he's cutting me off. You know, in good interviews are just like conversations, so conversation, you know?
Right.
But yeah.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I think you're the first person who doesn't remember who you had for the interview.
Yeah, man, because it's like I hear you guys talk like, oh yeah, I had so and so, and I was like, dude, I really don't remember. I have no idea.
Do you remember what date you did it?
You said the first.
I could probably.
Oh.
Sorry.
Did you say the first, like the very first day that you could have done it? You did it?
Yeah, whatever the days were that they gave us, it was the very first time slot, very first day that it was possible. Just because I wanted to get it over with and not have to stress about it, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Wow, that's very smart. Doing it
Yeah.
right away, but
I don't even know if that was really my idea. I think that was low-key like my parents' idea or something like that. You should just get it over with. And I was like, okay, fine.
I mean, it's definitely a good first impression too. You know, having the courage to go downtown and do it on the first day, and you obviously did a great job. You had a great interview with him, and you got in. So maybe that's a factor that helped you get in.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. But
what did you wear for the interview?
Oh, dude, I felt so underdressed for the interview because I went and like I was wearing a button-up shirt, I think like dark jeans and like some Bluntstones, something like that. But like when I was in the interview room, because there's other kids that had interview processes, and you know, there's guys wearing like full suits, and I was like, what the heck am I going into right now? I was like, this is not looking good. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I was okay with what I was wearing. But yeah.
Clearly, because you got in ahead of both of us, which, granted, you're very good at sport media. You're a very good host. I've done TV Lab with you for 1 year, only second year, I guess.
Yeah, and second year.
Third year. Well, this year. First.
This year, yeah, but I don't know if me and Connor have had a show that overlapped. Actually, maybe we had one that overlapped.
I think we might have had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although let's actually talk about the TV Lab because we've just wrapped it up yesterday with our final shows. So I wanted to get your thoughts on sort of how you found third year TV Lab and sort of what your experience was like with it.
Third year TV Lab, it was obviously, you know, very different because it's all remote. Did I like it as much as going in the actual studio and doing things? No, not really. But I think the things we learned this year in terms of learning how to use different software and how to communicate over like telecoms and all that kind of stuff. I think it's things that we never would have learned otherwise. You know what I mean? Especially not that quickly. So I'm happy we got to do it. I wish it was under better circumstances, but I wouldn't want to do anything different if that makes any sense. You know, I'm happy we did what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
I get that.
Like for me heading into it, I was kind of unsure whether it would be beneficial for us doing it online, because like I would think, it's definitely a big disadvantage for us not going into the studio. But Connor, I think you were someone who was just like, I think this is going to be great. Like, we're going to be like the only year that's going to learn how to do this online. And you were right. I completely agree with what Skyler was saying too. Like, we wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if there wasn't a pandemic, and we learned so much more doing everything remotely. And yeah, like the intercom on our phones and being able to control the studio's computers from our computers is just, it's really cool. I think it worked out like really well. And other than the first couple of weeks where we had some pretty major technical difficulties, it was pretty smooth from there on out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it worked out. We all had good shows, and yeah, I think
also, like, I really wanted to, like, I mean, whether or not they're listening to this or not is different, but I really, really wanted to shout out like the production assistants, like Ryan, Evan, all those guys. Like, the way they made the process so much easier in terms of all the technology. Because I remember, like, so for yesterday's show, for example, it was in the Mac, so I had to use the Zero. Usually, I've never had to use that. It's usually just Skype whenever I'm a talent. But the Zero, this is the first time, and like I had a whole bunch of problems. I couldn't open it on my laptop or anything like that. I sent Evan an email. Actually, I felt really bad because I sent him an email at like 8:00 at night, because that was the first time I actually tried to look at the Zero and see how it worked, and it wasn't opening on my laptop. This guy got back to me like 5 minutes later. Like, yeah, no worries. It's just this, and this. Do this, and then tomorrow morning when I get to the studio, I'll send you the credentials so you can log in. And I was just like, that's, you know what I mean? I didn't have to stress for that long. He got back to me ASAP, and it was after school hours as well. So I really appreciate those guys for doing what they do.
They are the unsung heroes of this program. Like,
for real.
Seriously.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do these shows if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
They're geniuses at their craft. They know everything in a studio. And this semester made that very apparent with their ability to problem solve. And honestly, I think that the technical issues that we had throughout the semester helped us. Like, it gave us more of an idea of what it was like working in a situation where everything isn't perfect.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to everything going correctly apart from maybe timing issues. Whereas this semester we had to deal with stuff like, the audio isn't getting any audio coming through the board. The audio can't even hear what they're doing, which did happen to me once.
It added a lot of stress, but I think it was good stress, and it helped us a lot. Like, even, I don't know if you guys heard what happened in Zach's production, but they're doing like a live esports game, like they're playing NHL 21, and we were closing in on like 2 minutes left in the show, but the game was still going on. It's 0-0, and it's gonna go to overtime. So we're definitely gonna go overtime with this show, and we're all freaking out. And then one guy scored with 2 seconds left to save us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so clutch. But like we were so scared. Like, we didn't know what we would do if it kept going. And no, it was exciting when he scored the goal. It was just like Zach was just like, "Oh my god, he scored!" Yeah.
Yeah, the troubleshooting for this year was insane. Just because, like you guys said, there's so much that unfortunately went wrong during productions, but fortunately we were able to actually get out of it, largely due to the fact that Ryan and Evan were always there. But it helps you, like Connor said, like kind of do things under pressure where things aren't always perfect. So I'm really happy that I got to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I'm also happy that we're done with TV Lab, because that was a super long class that I don't want to have to deal with anymore. But
you're done. Yeah, there's nothing in fourth year for this, right?
I don't believe so. Unless maybe this is something you could do that if you take a certain class, that might be the same, but not mandatory.
Yeah, I think with your practicum you can do like a multicam production. But as someone who didn't like TV Lab particularly, as Skyler, you were well aware from second year, I don't know if I'll be doing that. I might be sticking to the podcast radio format for our practicum. But again, it's good experience. It's good dealing with pressure and all of the things that come with it, which not only this course, but this program does a really good job of teaching us. So let's dive into the program a little bit more in terms of what you've really enjoyed. And I like asking this question to everyone because it's 99% of the time the same answer, but I still like asking it. What has been your favorite course at Ryerson?
Favorite course? Mandatory courses or?
Just course, period. It could be an elective. It could be anything.
It's between two. One, which actually it really shouldn't be between two, but it is for some reason. Number one, social media, which I took last year with Hamza Khan.
Yeah.
That was an amazing course, mainly because he was a really good teacher in the sense that he would give out assignments, which he didn't do a lot, but when he did give out assignments, he was such a good teacher where it's kind of like, okay, I actually want to do this. You know what I mean? Like I want to learn about what he's talking about. So that one, and also this might be a weird one just because of the time and everything, but I think it was, what was it called, sport media theory or something like that in second year. It's like an 8 a.m. class.
Yeah, that was with what's
I
her
forgot
name?
the guy's name,
Curtis
but
Maloney. Is
Yeah,
That was first year, wasn't it?
that first year.
Oh, was it? Sport media. Theory.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Oh
but
yeah, it was first year I think.
yeah. That was the 8 a.m. on
Fridays.
Fridays.
Yeah, yeah. Which is weird because I don't like 8 a.m. classes, but for some reason, like I loved him as a teacher. Like he was very engaging. Everything he was talking about sounded interesting. So I really liked that class, but it was weird because it was at 8 a.m. and usually that just doesn't. I don't go with 8 a.m.s.
He would listen to your podcast, right? Northside Talks. That guy?
Yeah, he did. He did. It was cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard a bad word about Curtis, or Professor Maloli, should I say? From everybody who's like, it has been one of the courses that has stood out when talking to people on this podcast. But the one that I'm surprised you didn't say is one, on-air presentation. I figured that would be one of your go-tos.
Oh wow!
And two, the TV labs.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's just because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like those classes. I probably would have said those if you said like top 3, top 4, or whatever. But I don't know. It's just there's something about those two classes where I found it easiest, mainly because the workload wasn't insanely high. Whereas for like TV lab, like this one that we just had for 6 hours. Sure. When you actually get to the class, you already know what you're doing and you just go and you do it. But the whole week leading up to that, or weeks leading up to that, you're preparing stuff, you're writing scripts, you gotta make graphics. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to go into it, and it's just, 6 hours is a big chunk out of your day. You know what I mean? And afterwards, you just feel so drained. But I should have said those classes. Those classes are very good too.
So, what do you want to do in the industry then when you graduate?
Honestly, that's tough. Honestly, when I first started, I think like many people, I wanted to do like on-air stuff, and I still do. Like I think if I could write my perfect story, it's on air. Doing like a talent thing, probably specifically for a soccer show, just because that's what I know more in depth. But as you kind of get into the program, I'm sure you guys know the teachers and everyone around you they kind of encourage you to keep your mind open, so looking at different things, where I'm still not that much of a technical guy in terms of like, making graphics and all that kind of stuff, but there's other things that they show you in the program where, like, for example, like audio, like I actually like doing audio at sometimes. Even being TD when we're in the studio, like technical director, that's not bad. Like the switcher, stuff like that, where it kind of opens up your mind a little bit. But right now I'd say my main thing would, to still be a talent, still be like an on-air thing.
Would you ever consider like doing a bigger role, like producing your own show? Would you want to do that in the future?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, I think for a lot of people that might be like a end goal, which for me, I'd love to do that, but I'm an easy guy. Like if it was just if my life consisted of me just becoming an on-air host and that was that, and I liked what I was doing, that's enough for me, But obviously, yes, if I was given the opportunity to produce a show or something like that, that'd be gold. Like I'd also love to do that as well.
And you just spoke about your soccer experience, so I think we should talk about that a little bit, because you played at quite a high level against some pretty good opposition. So could you maybe talk to us a bit about your soccer, I say career, and I guess it sort of is in a way, but it feels weird saying that when you're talking about playing soccer as a kid. What was your soccer, can you just walk us through your soccer career?
Yeah, so I started when I was probably 5, 6, something like that. It's weird. I actually started off playing basketball. That was my main sport at first, and then I don't know what happened, but I ended up switching to soccer and I never went back. So when I was 6, started off in house league, like the regular stuff, and I think at around the age of 7 or 8, there was something called like the All-Star team for the Markham Soccer Club, which is where I live.
Mhm.
And it's weird. My dad was the coach for the house league team, and I guess the house league coaches, they get an email from the soccer club saying, okay, we want these players for the All-Star team. And I think it was just like the jersey number and like the color of the jersey. So my number was there. So my dad gets his email,
Wow.
and at the end of the email, you know how they say at the end of the email, like, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, whatever. Like, that's what it's at the end of the email.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad actually reached out saying, hey, you put so-and-so on your All-Star team. He's referring to me. He's like, are you sure you guys made the right choice? Because when I was younger, I was just like athletic. Like, that's the only reason why I was anything. I wasn't very technical or anything like that. And they gave him this whole spiel about, projecting me, all that kind of stuff. So ended up going on the All-Star team for like a year or two, and then bumped up to rep when I hit like, I don't know, like 10 or something like that. So it was Markham Soccer Club for a little bit, became the captain, and then ended up switching teams. I switched teams quite a little bit, I'm not going to lie, for a couple of years, just because I think coaching is huge. Like, finding a coach that believes in you and a coach that you believe in as well is big. So was kind of bouncing around some teams, and then I remember, I think it was 12 or 13 years old, we played this one team called Moordale. And Moordale, they had just won the Ontario Cup, which, like, I guess technically on paper means that they're the best team in Ontario. And we played them, and some of the guys, like Connor, you know him, Noble Okello, he played on this team.
He is a member of Toronto FC's academy, for anybody who doesn't know who that is.
Yeah,
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, should have clarified that. But he was on this team along with some other guys that ended up going into TFC Academy. And some of the things that this team did was like, holy smokes, to have like 12, 13-year-olds playing like how they had these kids playing was insane. So after I found out about this coach, the coach ended up leaving that team to go to Unionville, which is like right beside where I live. So I went to one of the games, talked to the coach after about if I could come out to a practice session. And he said, okay, yeah, for sure, come out at this time, whatever. Made the team, and it's funny because as soon as I made the team that under this coach, I was like, okay, I found the coach that I want to play for now. Like, I'm settled. The guy comes up to me and he's like, yeah, so I'm leaving and I'm going back to this Moordale team. And I was like, no way. I was like, no way this happened. But he was a real good guy because he convinced the owner of this team, this Moordale team, to give me a trial and to see, if I could fit with the team. And it's weird because this Moordale team, I didn't know this before, but they were like, I say owner because that's literally what he was. So Moordale essentially was like a rec center team. It wasn't supposed to be a rep team. But one of the guys took over the team. He's like a millionaire for Scotiabank. His name's Dave Barry. He used to work under Scotiabank, made a whole lot of money. And then, I don't know, I guess made so much money to the point where he didn't need to really work, quote unquote. And
I might know him.
took over the Moordale team. And so it was literally run like a professional team. We had 4 different coaches. Like, usually most teams have 1, 2 coaches. This team had a coach for the offense, coach for the defense, a goalkeeper coach, and then a coach, like a head coach that just kind of surveyed everything. And,
Okay, can we go back to David Barry for a second? Because that's a friend of mine's dad.
Is it?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I went to high school with him. That's
Christian
hilarious.
Barry?
Yeah, Christian. You know Christian?
Yeah, he used to
Oh,
play on
God.
the team. Yeah, man.
Really?
Small-
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
small world. That's pretty cool.
Okay. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
so
Yeah, Christian
he-
was good.
Yeah, Christian, he was
on.
good at he was good. But it was one of those ones where I guess there was so much, like, the team was literally looked at or carried as a professional team because there's money going into this team. Like, we need to be good. Like, the culture that they established over there was so high. The standards were so high where I think when I played there, we came second or something like that. We lost like 3 or 4 games in the season. And people were losing their minds because it was like, oh my God, like, this is the worst season we've had, all that kind of stuff. But the coach there, his name is Dominic Willock. He kind of became, I want to say, like a mentor in a way for the sport. He taught a lot about, like, he wanted to develop us, 1, as players, but 2, like, he wanted to also make sure that we grew up properly as men, like as young men. And he taught a lot of the same values that my father taught. So I related a lot with Dom. Oh, that's what I'm calling him, Dom. So he ended up leaving Moordale and went to this team in Oshawa, this Durham Academy team. So again, because I liked him so much, I followed him over there. and kind of stuck with him until I stopped playing at the age of I think 18, 19.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. But a lot of good people that I met on the journey, and a lot of experiences that I got to go through that I probably wouldn't have gone through otherwise.
Why?
So what position were you?
I started off so when I was younger, I started off playing defense, like just because like when you're young, it's like seven aside, so there's just two defenders. So I was one of those. Mainly because, like I said, I was just athletic. I didn't have any touch or anything like that, any technical ability. Uh, but ended up converting to, I guess the next step was I converted to more of like an attacking mid because my uncle told me, yo, he basically said, I mean, he didn't say you have no touch, but he basically said, yo, you should start dribbling a ball in the house and watch how much better you become in terms of ball control. So I started doing that and then converted to a center attacking mid. And then I think because of my size and like my work rate, my parents, especially my dad, always used to get on me if I was slacking off on defense or anything like that. So I was forced to always try super hard on defense. And I think because of that, I was playing with some coach, and he ended up bumping me back down to a center defensive mid, and that's kind of where I made my name a little bit more for most of my career. But even at that point, playing center defensive mid, like when I went to this Mordale team at first, I ended up having to play center back because one of the center backs were gone. So I learned how to play center back for a couple months. Then learned how to play left and right back for a couple months. Learned how to play out wide. So I really became like a versatile player that every week, kind of depending on the personnel that we had and depending on the team that we had, would switch around positions.
Huh. What
Yeah.
position? Just out of curiosity, because I am friends with Christian.
Mhm.
What position did he play when he was playing with you?
He was playing with me. I was playing center defensive mid. So we were playing with a single hold. So we were playing a 4-3-3.
What
And
position was he playing?
he was playing out wide on the wings or as a striker.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Because
Yeah,
when I played high school with him, and he
Mhm.
played as a fullback.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
our coach put him in a fullback.
no, when I was playing with him, he was more of a winger at that time. But then again, like there would be some games where center back is missing, so I have to slide in. Like I'm sure you guys all know about him already. Jonathan David. Uh,
Yeah.
he played for this team called Gloucester in Ottawa. So I got
Mhm.
to match up against him when he was a striker. I was playing center defensive mid, so that was awesome.
Whoa.
Io, I think you guys know him already. Io Akinola,
Yeah.
striker for TFC. Again, he was another one. I think Io Akinola might have been the best player I've played against in my
Really?
whole thing. Yeah, he was a monster. It was insane
That's
because I mean now I know he's only how tall is he now? He's like what 5'10", 5'9", something like that.
5'10", 5'11", I think,
Yeah,
around there.
5'10",
But
5'11".
obviously, all athletes boost their height a little bit. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
he when we were younger, he was already that height, so he was pretty big for our
Oh
age, like
wow.
around like
Okay.
14, 15. And the guy was a unit. Like he was strong, he was fast, he had a good touch. So him, like when I play against him, like I knew, okay, this is as good as it's gonna get. You know what I mean? You have to show out. Jonathan David as well. He was another one where I think the same build he has now, where he's thicker, he's stronger, but he was also like rapid, quick. He had an
Yeah.
amazing touch at that age. Yeah, so it's crazy to see like where some of these guys have ended up, especially like Jonathan David, obviously, playing for Lille now in France. It's crazy.
Yeah, after his, I think it's what, 20 to $25 million transfer from
Mm-hmm.
Genk. He was 17th on the Young Boy voting this year. So the fact that you can say you played against a guy who got actual votes for the Young Boy award, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was insane to see like where some of these guys ended up.
Again, this is just for my curiosity. Did you play against anyone else who people might know of apart from Noble, Okello, Iwakanola, and Jonathan David?
There was, I think actually right now. So I played with and against. If you've heard of him, Luke Singh, and he's on TFC's academy.
Yeah,
And
he's
was
a
recently,
fullback, is he not?
yeah, which is so weird because when I was playing, the guy was a striker or a cam.
Really?
Yeah, and it's weird because I think it's because he grew so much. Like he's a giant now. So I think he was actually on loan last year at Brøndby or something like that. So I
Okay,
played
wow.
with and against him. I played against, I think he's on loan as well, on TFC, Rocco
Rocco
Romeo.
Romeo. Yep.
Yeah, played against him.
Best
That
name in the
guy,
TFC system. Best name.
dude, that guy has always, like, I don't know how tall he is now. He's like, what, 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Um, he's always been a giant. Like, he's always been massive. No matter what age we were at, he was always like a good few inches taller than the tallest player on my team.
Wow.
But I played against him a lot. And then I think that's pretty much it in terms of guys that have made it, like, quote unquote pro right now. But I played against guys that are on TFC Academy, like, still, or in the CPL, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
That's crazy. So you were clearly very good. And how do you think that's sort of translated to your interest in sport media and just your sort of sport media, I guess you could say persona, in a way, but also like your interest level?
I mean, I guess it gets to the point where if you're playing a sport or if you're doing anything for that matter, at that high level, you kind of become like so devoted in it, and to the point where it's like this is all you know in a way. So for me, obviously being super devoted in soccer, all I knew like in depth was soccer, and I kind of matched that with my personality, where I kind of had a more outgoing personality as a kid. And so when I saw the sport media thing, I was kind of like, yo, okay, this is kind of perfect for me. You know what I mean? Just because I know about sports, one, because I played soccer, and then two, because my dad was a sportsman. So I got to learn about other sports like football and basketball. But then also just because I found I had a good enough personality to where I wouldn't be, I guess, shy or awkward talking in front of people, like doing presentations and stuff. So I was like, okay, this program sounds perfect for me. Let me just shoot my shot and try to see what happens, you know?
So how big do you think that soccer influence was in terms of you starting the separate Instagram page from the regular Northside Talks Instagram page, Northside Football?
Um, Honestly, it was one of those ones where me and Jelani would talk. So Jelani runs Northside Talks. And it started off, yeah, with both of us doing it. And it's funny because when I made the NST football page, the soccer page, people thought me and Jelani had like some kind of falling out or something like that. Like, I remember my dad, my dad was like, "Hey, I saw you made this page. What's going on? You guys okay?" All that kind of stuff. But you know, it's just one of those things where I think because it was something that me and Jelani had talked about for a long time in terms of making a radio station or making like a radio show and all that kind of stuff, it was one of those ones where we wanted to sort of expand it. So I know if you guys pay attention to like Bleacher Report, there's like Bleacher Report, there's BR Football, there's BR Gridiron, like all that kind of stuff. That was just one of those branches where we wanted to kind of branch off and start new things, you know?
So did you find that most of your followers kind of went over to that page when you first made it?
It's weird because that we made the page like I think a year ago. So obviously the Northside Talks page like blew up since then. I think he has like around like 1,000, 2,000 followers now. A few of the people that would constantly interact with my posts when I was doing Northside Talks and just like the soccer posts, yeah, they definitely hopped over to the NSD football page. But then also I think just because soccer is it's a worldwide sport, you know, it's played everywhere. So I'd start talking to people that are from Europe. Some guys I've been in contact with, like just talking like in direct messages and stuff. Like some guys are from England, some guys are from Turkey, like Spain. It's cool. It's a nice community that kind of came with me to the NSD football page.
Have you guys considered making like other NST pages for like other sports as well, like baseball, hockey, basketball?
It's definitely crossed our mind. It's more so finding people that would be devoted to doing that, though. You know what I mean? Because we could definitely run it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you can only do so much, and you can only do so much at a good enough level where you're putting out good work and people actually enjoy it versus you just putting out random posts and stuff, but it's just like no one really interacts with it, no one really cares about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's more so just finding people that would be able to take the time out their day and devote themselves into just posting like baseball, like you said, for example, or hockey or something like that, you know?
So if you're listening to this, NST Inside Talks
You can
is
apply.
looking to hire you.
Link in the
It's
Yeah, we're
unpaid.
hiring.
It's unpaid, but there's positions open.
Yeah, we're hiring for free. But we're hiring.
For sure. Yeah. So go slide in those DMs.
Also, 2,700 followers on the Northside Talks main page.
Yeah, see, so that's crazy because I think when I was there, it was I think just under or in and around like 600 or something like
Wow.
that. So Jelani really took it forward. You know what I mean? Some of the things at the rate at Jelani posts stuff is
crazy.
insane because sometimes
It's nuts.
I'm seeing Jelani's post before I even see it pop up on my notifications
I know,
for
right?
like Bleacher Report, and it's just like, yo, how do you know this? You know, but hats off to him. Like he deserves all of that.
Yeah, he's insane, and we talked to him a bit about how he does it, and it's nuts. Like he's got specific stuff set up for specific news and like different templates, and it's insane. And you aren't quite as active on the football side of things, but I wanted to know, how do you pick and choose what you post? Is there any sort of specific decision making in posting?
There is a little bit, and it's mainly just based off how big of an impact I think that this news would have. So if it's something like for example, like obviously I would post this regardless, but like Messi, for example, saying that he was unhappy at Barcelona, I posted so much about that story because anything could have happened, and it's one of those ones where even now he's still playing there, yeah, but we don't know if come next season when his contract is gone, if he's going to be leaving or if he's going to stay, you know? So it kind of depends on how big I think the story can become, not necessarily how big it is right now. So if it's something where you can definitely see more than one update coming about it and it's going to affect, for example, I don't know, it may be a big player is going to another team and that's the missing piece for this team, I'll post about that just because it will have a big impact. A lot of times though, like especially now, because you guys know like it's the last little bit of the semester, like it's busy, so I haven't been posting as much as I would have liked to post, but you know, it is what it is, and it gets to the point where like, okay, something happened, but it's like been days ago now, there's no point in talking about it now because, you know, people know, you know.
Yeah, it's a really fine balance between being on time and being late, and
Yeah.
it's definitely difficult around this time of year with how much work we have and all the stuff that we have to do for different classes. But I want to finally sort of touch on Northside Talks as the podcast, and then the podcast that you just started. But we'll start with Northside Talks. Obviously, you host it with Jelani. Again, we spoke to him a couple weeks ago, if you want to go and check that episode out. But what has sort of been one of your biggest takeaways from doing the show with Jelani and doing the show on Spirit Live, just based on an experience side of things?
I honestly think so. The whole Northside Talks experience, and hosting the show with, so yeah, it's mainly me and Jelani all the time, but through the years we've had, obviously, you know, Emmanuel, Darius when he was still in school, which we're hoping to get him back on the first show or the season finale, and then now Milan too. It's honestly, it's kind of motivating to do stuff like that, just because it's like when we're talking on this show, it's no different than how we talk without microphones and cameras around. You know, that's really just us talking about sports, and it's motivating because you see how fun it is doing something that you love, and now it's like, okay, now I really want to put in the work in this class. So hey, maybe this can become my future. Maybe I can be doing this and getting paid for it. You know, so I'd say the main takeaway is just, yes, one, enjoying it, but also trying to learn from it as well, and just trying to become bigger and better every single time you come on the show, and maybe learning new things from different sports, like if someone else mentions something or anything like that. But yeah, mainly just really having fun with it all.
So you guys started. Oh yes, go Connor.
You can go ahead.
So you guys started this show in first semester of first year, I believe. So it's been a while. So how do you think you've improved, I guess, just being on air and talking to an audience? What do you think has been the biggest thing that you've been able to improve on, you know, now being in third year, heading into second semester, third year?
Honestly, so in terms of like what goes into making the show, we used to be very unorganized, just because I don't know what was going on. We just never really did anything. It was kind of just, we show up, and while the show is going on, we would think, like, we would be saying to each other, okay, what do you guys want to talk about today? You know what I mean? It was one of those ones where there was no real direction with it.
Mhm.
And since then, I mean, we haven't gotten to the point where, like, you know how you guys have like notes, you know what I mean? And other shows, like I know Milan, when he used to do his show with Bowen, they had like notes, like docs prepared. We don't have that necessarily, but we have a very good idea. Like we'll talk beforehand, and that way it's just smooth with us transitioning from different topics, and we'll know what to kind of shine light on and what to kind of fall back on a little bit. But in terms for me specifically, it's kind of just being more comfortable talking in front of an audience. You know, I mean, I remember when I first came to Ryerson, and you're kind of just walking past the Allen Slate Institute in the RCC, you'd see the studio right there, and it's just like I remember when I was first seeing it, I was like, okay, I hope I never have to do anything in there because everyone can see you, you know. And then you go to Spirit Live, and they're like, yep, this is the studio, and it's like, oh, that's great, you know. So I think the first couple times we did it, I was really nervous. Like I would be stuttering a lot of my words, and I don't know, I'd be saying a whole bunch of like weird things. But I think the more times I went there, just the more and more comfortable I got. And now it's just like, I don't really mind if there's an audience. Because now some people, if there's like an open house, or back when there was an open house like available to do, you'd be doing a show, and then like a whole bunch of like these high schoolers or first years or whatever would just come up to the window and start looking at you guys as you're talking. And it's just, you know, but I got used to that kind of stuff. So probably just being more comfortable talking in front of people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And this is your time to plug. When can people hear that season finale, hopefully with Darius?
You guys can go check that out on Spirit Live tomorrow, actually on Thursday at 4:00. We haven't gotten the whole extra hour like you two have, but we have from 4 to 5 Thursdays. So y'all be sure to go check that out.
Yeah, we got really lucky that there was no show ahead of us, and Spirit Live opened up the ability for us to do extra time if you wanted to this week, because it is the last week of the semester and this is the season finale. But yeah, we took that time and we're using it in the busiest time of year. But we'll wrap up the interview about you with the newest podcast that you started, that you just released an episode I saw this morning, the Random Podcast. This is solo hosted, correct?
Yeah.
And you've done now technically 5 episodes or 5 uploads, because you did break one episode into 2 parts. So can you tell us a bit about why you decided to start that and where this idea sort of came from?
Honestly, so again, like when I was saying before, the teachers kind of not force you, but encourage you to keep your mind open. It kind of helped me to just look at different avenues for myself, you know. So obviously I have the NSD football page that I run. I made a graphics page just to try and learn a little bit of Photoshop so I could do stuff like that. And then most recently, yeah, it's the podcast. And that one is a bit different, actually sort of similar to the graphics page because it's not sports specific. A lot of the things people do in this are sports specific, and like obviously that makes sense because we're in sport media, all that kind of stuff. But for me, it was just, I didn't want to limit myself in any way to solely talk about sports when there's different things that I'm passionate about, like music, like artists and all that kind of stuff. So the Random Podcast, I mean, that's kind of why I just came up with that name, Random, just because I don't want to have necessarily an itinerary or a schedule that I have to talk about this, and that every single episode. It's kind of just a bit of everything. Like some of it's just about like my life, my experiences. The one I uploaded this morning was sport specific, just because I know I have people that follow me specifically for the sports stuff that I do. So yeah, I just didn't really want to limit myself when making this podcast. Now I'm just leaving it open to talk about anything.
I can relate so much to that. It reminds me a lot of Unlimited, the podcast that I have. It's just unlimited stuff I can talk about. So like Random Podcast, Unlimited Podcast, it's kind of got the same preface. So yeah, I can definitely see what you mean. You know, it's not, and also like I have this podcast. You have Northside Talks where you talk about fully sports stuff. So it must be nice to talk about other things too, and show your versatility, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's honestly why I started doing it. And it's the same thing with the graphics page. Like I wanted to at least try something and see if I could learn something new. So Photoshop, I taught myself that in the whole little quarantine thing. So yeah, stuff like that. We're just not limiting yourself and just expanding yourself into different like platforms, I think is huge, especially in this industry.
Yeah, and we'll wrap up this talk, this interview, by mentioning we will have all of Skyler's links to everything that he's done, including Northside Talks, the Random Podcast, NST Football, his Twitter, which he started 2 days ago. Skyler with an extra R, Gonzales with an S as opposed to a Z, because that's how he spells his last name, and it makes sense. But we'll link all of that down below. I don't know if you want us to shout out your private Twitter, but if you want us to, we can.
That one's whatever. It's okay.
Yeah, so check out his new Twitter, all of his pages, but we are now going to transition into sports. And obviously last week, due to some time constraints, we were unable to talk sports. So we've got 2 weeks to cover, including NBA free agency and the NBA draft. So if you paid any attention to our NHL free agency episode, you'll know that I like to talk about signings. So we will get to that later. We're going to start off with, I think we'll start off with the random sports, because I think that's a bit more fun. And if we don't have time to talk basketball or hockey or anything like that, it's not the end of the world. But we will start off with the sport that neither of these guys follow and know nothing about, but I figured we should throw it in there because some pretty massive news happened this past week. Formula One. First of all, I should say, if you haven't watched the Netflix Formula One series, watch it. It is so good. And this upcoming season, if they release it, is going to be just as good, if not better than both of them combined. But this past weekend, I think that kind of sums up the crash.
I heard about the crash, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the video on that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm blanking on his. I think it's Sebastian Grosjean. Crashed at the, I think, very beginning of the race, sort of thing. If you haven't seen the crash already, you should watch it, but be warned, he was okay. He only sustained some minor injuries, although the fact that he survived is a miracle because his car literally pretty much exploded. But yeah, that crash, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but he hit the wall at, like, I think I saw a tweet saying he hit the wall at like 137 miles per hour. And the impact was like 52 Gs.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to talk about the crash at all, or just move on from talking about it because it is shocking?
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a part of that sport that is not talked about enough. Like I think like regular fans, for example, or casual fans, or for example, that don't know too much in depth about the sport, people just think, okay, I'm just driving cars, in a circle or whatever. But you don't understand all the little technicalities that got to go into it. And then the risk that they have like that, where it happens, like, it's not like, let's be real, it's not the first time a crash has happened in that sport, and it's a crazy thing whenever it happens, because like you said, like, the car exploded. It's insane that this guy was able to get out of the car and walk off. It's a part of the sport that's not talked about enough, and I think those guys need that kind of credit, need some sort of recognition for, this is entertainment for you guys, but we're also risking our lives in the sense that we can crash this car and die, and not too many sports you could say that with, where you could die any single sport, maybe football, boxing, that kind of stuff, but even then it's not as clean cut as either I'm dead or I'm not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with him. It's really risky. It takes a lot of guts to get into that car, first of all, and the speed that they're traveling at. And yeah, as far as the crash goes, like, that was crazy. Thank God he was okay and he survived. But no, it was ridiculous. But like those crashes happen. Like, you see some crazy crashes like that happen like once a season, and yeah, like, these guys are just lucky to stay alive, and you got to give them a lot of credit for what they do and how much they sacrifice. And at the end of the day, it's good that he's okay.
Yeah, and you say that literally last season, an F2 driver was killed in a crash, and I got his name incorrect. It wasn't Sebastian; it's Romain Grosjean. but he races for Haas, and he's a free agent at the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he gets a car or a seat next year. But other news in F1, Lewis Hamilton tested positive for COVID. George Russell, who is a driver for Williams, he's only like 22, I think, 22, 23, and is a British, I want to say Indonesian national. He's a very good racer. They did a bit of a feature on him in the last Netflix series, or season, I believe. But he'll be taking Hamilton's seat for the weekend, this weekend's upcoming race, while he recovers from COVID. And Jack Aitken, who is an F2 driver, will be making his F1 debut for Williams. But it's been pretty crazy few days. Is also Mick Schumacher, who is the son of Michael Schumacher, who is arguably one of the best racers of all time. He will be joining Haas next season for a multi-year contract. I can't remember the exact length, but that's pretty big for him because he's finally getting into F1. Do either of you have any sort of thoughts on just everything I just said?
Maybe you can actually confirm this for me, just because I saw something about it a couple days ago. I think it was about Lewis Hamilton. I think it's just speculation, but I'm not 100% sure. Is he getting knighted? Is he doing like the whole knighthood thing? Because I know he's British. But,
I believe he might be.
Yeah, I saw that's huge. I saw that a couple of days ago on social media, and I was like, "Holy crap! Wow, like that's probably the one guy from F1 that I know, Lewis Hamilton, just because I've seen things about him." But yeah, I just wanted to comment that.
Yeah, he's one of the best racers of all time, and although he is racing in probably the best car of all time, he's still one of the best racers of all time. Period. But Aiden, do you have anything you want to add before we move on to some other random sports that probably shouldn't even be called a sport because it wasn't technically? Do you have any thoughts on F1?
Not really, man. Go watch the green flag, I guess.
Yeah, go watch the green flag with Kyle Cushman and Lucas Walker.
Yeah.
They do a really good podcast on everything racing, specifically a lot on NASCAR, although I believe that season has just ended. So they're going to probably talk some F1 because they both like racing. But yeah, go check their show out because it's great. But boxing, I felt like I had to throw it in there. Like,
yeah.
Did you guys watch the actual fight?
Yes, I watched.
Yeah, I watched
all
it.
night.
Golly.
Did you watch it, Skyler?
I didn't. I watched like I just seen clips of it like on YouTube, or like my dad was watching it and I was doing something else, so I would just come up to see like what happened. So I saw when Nate Robinson got knocked out. Yeah. And from what I saw from that fight, dude, I don't know what Nate Robinson was thinking. Because it didn't look like he knew what he was doing at all.
Apparently he didn't spar anybody in his training camp. So that was like his first one-on-one. Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's embarrassing. I'm sure you guys saw on social media. Everybody was all over that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I don't blame him necessarily. Because it's like, what are you even doing entertaining someone like Jake Paul? You know what I mean? Like, I guess, you wanted more clout, I guess. Like, get your name back up in lights. But your name's in lights, but it's for the wrong reasons right now. You know what I mean?
It's these athletes. They're underestimating these YouTubers who have been boxing for a decent amount of time. Like Jake's been boxing for like 3 years. Nate Robinson thinks, okay, this guy's just a YouTuber. I'm like a big time NBA player. I won a dunk competition. I'm more of an athlete than him. I can step into the ring in 2 months and beat him up. But like in reality, no, you can't do that. Jake has a lot more experience. And yeah, like from the fight, Nate was just running at him, just running straight at him. Like you could see, like obviously he's the better athlete out of the two for sure. But when it comes to boxing, Jake is more technical, and he picked his punches. He picked the right times to throw. And Nate really didn't have any defense to his game as well. He was just rushing, trying to do all offense, and Jake just caught him. Jake caught him, 4 times? Knocked him down 4 times?
Yeah. And the last one was bad because he was literally out cold. Yeah, man. He tried to get up and fell back over again. I was like, oh, boy.
I felt so bad for Nate. Like I didn't want to see it.
His biggest issue, Nate, was the height. Like, he's got to try to get inside on Jake.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that just wasn't going to work when you run at him over and over again after getting clocked in the head 40 times. Or I think Jake Lee threw like 8 punches or something, or landed 8 punches, something stupid like that.
And half of them knocked him down.
Yeah.
But
But
no, because even like I'm sure. Do you guys know KSI?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's another one. So he fought Logan Paul. I think what was that last year or like for the last 2 years? So the first time they fought it
last August, I think. Correct.
December
or November.
9th. November the
December
9th. November the 9th.
November. Yeah, November.
Yeah, so I think the first time they fought it was a draw, and then so obviously they couldn't just settle on that. They had to go again, and that time JJ just won that one, and it's funny because the first time they fought, JJ actually wanted to fight Jake Paul, but Logan Paul kind of came in and said, no, okay, how about you fight me instead? And that's where all that happened. After this fight, like, because I follow JJ on Twitter. And so he's tweeting about the fight after, saying how he saw nothing impressive from Jake Paul. So that's definitely going to be another fight that's coming up soon, I think. KSI versus Jake Paul. Yeah. And that's going to be like a grudge match just because of the speculation around it for so many years now.
Is that going to happen before or after Jake fights Dylan Dennis and Conor McGregor and Evander Kane?
Is that really happening? That's not happening.
Well, I think
I saw Evander Kane.
I think it will happen after, just because what KSI is saying right now. He released a video today as well. He's saying like, I'm not gonna fight him anytime soon. I'm gonna wait till my festivals are over. I'm gonna wait till my album is released next year, and then we'll talk, Jake. Then we'll talk. So it's probably gonna happen like maybe this time next year. So yes. I don't think Jake will wait an entire.
2022.
Yeah, exactly. Even 2022. So like I think I definitely. And like, Jake is a good. It's tough to say because of the guys that he's fought. He's fought Deji, he's fought Anisan Gibb, and he's fought Nate Robinson, and none of them are good. They're all shorter than him, and each fight he could go into saying that he would get a first round or second round knockout, and it would be an easy victory. The only reason why Deji gave him a bit of a challenge is because Jake was like early on in his boxing career. He only had like 2 months of training. But I think if Jake really needs to, like if he really wants to fight a guy like Conor McGregor, like he said he would in I think 36 months, he would be fighting Conor McGregor. He's got to take a step up from these guys, these celebrities. He's got to fight an actual boxer if he wants to have any credibility, because like he could definitely fight like Evander Kane or other celebrities and get that first round knockout, but it's just not going to give him as many credibility.
Evander Kane and McGregor both have boxing experience. Like I think Kane trains, like one of his training.
Yeah, but McGregor
is boxing.
There's no way McGregor will just step in right now, though. There's no way.
Like no, obviously trained for a few months, but McGregor was a boxer for a long time. I'm saying that, and he took Floyd the distance.
No. I get it, but I'm just saying that there's no way McGregor would want to fight Jake Paul right now. Like Jake has to build up more of a resume. I don't think McGregor would want to fight this guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think McGregor might just want to beat the crap out of Jake Paul.
I don't think McGregor cares though. Like it's McGregor. Like he's a trained.
I don't think he cares, but like you said, it's McGregor. So I feel like his mentality might literally just be, I don't really care, so I'm just going to squash you now. Maybe. But it's interesting, yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, if they were to fight like in 2021, there's no chance Jake wins.
Yeah, shit.
No. If they fought, period, there's no chance Jake wins. Like,
it depends. It depends.
Whoa, that's a bold statement right there.
One guy has like 20 years of boxing experience. The other guy has 3. Yes, there's a bit of a height and reach advantage, but come on.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
I do want to ask you about whether or not you saw what Logan Paul said about Evander Kane.
Yes. That was on Sportsnet and TSN. The TSN posted on their Instagram today.
What happened with that?
Logan basically...
I can play it.
Will we get hit with copyright?
I mean, it's a live stream. It's a live stream, right?
Yeah, I can potentially pull it up on the computer, but I feel like that's just going to be too complicated.
Okay, it's fine.
Um,
I mean, yeah, just to sum it up,
yeah,
um, like he said, like Evander Kane from the San Jose Sharks, and then he's kind of like making fun of like the San Jose Sharks. Like, what is that? Is that like some sort of fish? Um, and then he's just saying like, I don't know who Evander Kane is. Um, Kane said something like, "These guys have no boxing experience. I would beat him up easily." And then Logan's just making fun of him, like, "There's no chance." And then I think Logan was also saying like, "Wait, is this guy like an active NHL player? Like right now, he plays hockey?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, he's an active player." And Logan's like, "How in the world is this guy gonna train boxing? Like, there's no way. So when is he gonna do that?" So, yeah, just making fun of him. And then Logan even came in and said, "I'll do it. I'll fight you if you want."
See, he
I'd love to
always
see
does that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who do you think would win?
I think Kane would take it. I think, dude, Kane, like, fighting is part of his job. Like,
How much? Yeah, but it's boxing.
he knocked
still.
he knocked Matt Cook out cold.
But it's hockey
And he was a
fighting.
rookie. It's very similar though. It's both stand up. Like, yes, you grab them, but it's still throwing punches, and
But
he
it's
knows how
like
to
a
take a
20-second fight in hockey, or like 10-second fight. I don't
Yeah,
agree.
fish-
I think Logan would win. I know I've seen the comments on Sportsnet's Instagram. They put like this comment if you think Logan would win, like this comment if you think Kane would win. There's so many more likes for the Kane one. I'm gonna go the other side. I think Logan will win. He has more experience. He's been training for the past 3 years. Like, and Kane is an active hockey player. He's focused on playing hockey. If this fight happens anytime soon, Logan will win, and I think it's gonna be early. My hot take for this week: first round knockout, Logan Paul on Kane.
Wow.
I think that's just a hot take that you think it'll happen in the first place, because legally, based on his contract, the San Jose Sharks have to okay it. I don't think that'll
That's true.
happen.
That is true as well.
We should move on though, because we've been talking about this for quite a while, and we should talk about the other fight, which was two 50-year-old men bear hugging, and one of them trying to hit the other guy in the stomach. Floyd Mayweather versus, or not Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. As I said, it was a fight between two 50-year-olds. What did we expect was going to happen? They called it a draw to save both of their egos, even though Mike Tyson 100% won that fight. Do either of you want to comment on this? And then I will ask you about the potential rumor for Mike Tyson's next fight.
I mean, Mike Tyson, obviously, you know about Mike Tyson in his prime. This guy probably could have killed you if he hit you properly, if he really connected on
He
one of
could
his
probably
punches.
still kill us.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that could probably still ring true to now. Obviously, like you said, it was just two 50-year-olds fighting, probably just because, they're a bit older. The boxing's tough, cardio-wise. You're always moving. You got to stay active. So I kind of get why the fight was what it was. But I've said this before about other people, and I'll still say it now. I congratulate Roy Jones Jr. Like I congratulate people that will actually step into the ring with Mike Tyson, knowing that this guy could probably kill you with his hands. That's so insane to me. Like I would never. Like I'm sure you guys have heard this question before. Like would you go in? Would you get a punch from Mike Tyson for like $1 million, something like that? And honestly, I don't know if I would do that because that's what I'm saying. Mike Tyson could really kill me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would.
I have another.
I'd also break my neck because.
But yeah.
Yeah. I meant $1 million, but yeah, you could die. You're right, Skyler.
I was gonna say there's no guarantee you're living after that punch.
But
Depends on if-
you're setting up your family very nicely, though.
That's true.
Is it to the cheek or is it straight onto the nose? If it's
I
to
don't know,
the
man. That's
cheek,
up to
I might
him.
have to think about it a little bit more because that could actually break my neck. If it's to the nose, I think I might be able to handle it. I can
I
take
don't know,
getting
man.
knocked out for $1 million.
That's up to you. That's up to Mike Tyson whether he's feeling like cracking you in the nose or cracking you in the cheek. It doesn't matter.
Depends on if he wants murder charges or against him or not. Okay, so let's talk about the rumors about Tyson's next potential fight.
Hmm.
Have either of you seen them?
I don't think so.
No.
There are rumors, and I believe Evander Holyfield has said he might be interested in a Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson 3.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the guy who got his ear bitten off. Correct.
By Mike
By
Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
That one actually might be kind of interesting. Have they ever smoothed things out from that? Like, I know that happened a long time ago, but someone bit your ear off, yo. Like, is that... There might be some beef with that fight, like some real...
I
They really
highly
might
doubt
not
it
go
because
at
if somebody bit my ear off, I don't think I'd be very forgiving.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
That would be an interesting fight because I feel like they would literally... I mean, I don't want to say... I don't want to encourage violence, but they'd be really trying to go at each other a lot more than Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. were going at each other.
Let's put it this way: there'd be a lot less clinching.
Yeah.
I think Evander Holyfield might have learned his lesson from the first fight. But yeah, that would be a very interesting fight. I look forward to it. But we should continue firing through topics and touch on the baseball news. The only baseball news, apart from a couple signings, but we're not going to get into that. But specifically, what I'm talking about is Robinson Cano testing positive for PEDs and getting suspended for the entire 2021 season. What I want to ask you both is this the end of Robinson Cano's professional baseball career?
You know how old he is? Cano.
I think he's like 36.
Yeah.
36.
Yeah.
You know, fun fact, Robinson Cano used to be one of my favorite players. When he was on the Yankees, I used to copy my swing after him, that like smooth swing. But yeah, I might have to agree with that. I think it could be the end of his career.
He's 38.
Yeah.
Wow, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Cano hasn't even been like on top of his game the last couple of years. He's not the same player that he used to be. So, and yeah, this might be the nail in the coffin for him. He had a great career though. You know, he won the World Series with the Yankees. Then he got a big time contract with the Mariners. And then he's kind of floated around. I think was he on the Mets to end his career now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he's had a good career, but I mean, it's unfortunate that, you know, we find out now that he tested positive for PEDs. Kind of makes you wonder, was he taking anything in his prime years as well and just didn't get caught for it? But yeah, I mean, at 38 and his career was already on the decline and you find this out, I could see his career being over for sure.
Yeah, me too. Especially because, I mean, something like that where you're found of taking performance enhancement drugs is like, it's an embarrassing thing too as well. You know, like it's not easy to be found guilty of doing something like that and then just come back to the same locker room, knowing that you've been doing things to, I guess, technically cheat. You know, and like you guys said, the fact that he's 38 years old and on the decline already, I don't see any reason for him to want to come back to keep playing. You know, like you said, he's already done all there was that needed to be done already. You know, he's won already before. So I think at this point, this is probably the nail in the coffin, and he's just living out his days now.
All right. And let's continue firing through topics, and we can talk about the NFL now, or shall I say, you two can talk about the NFL now, and I'll just rant about the fact that COVID is going everywhere. But we'll start with Joe Burrow suffering a torn ACL and MCL, as well as other structural damage. Sorry, English is hard sometimes. To his knee.
Yeah.
If you don't know where the ACL and MCL are, the ACL is on the inside of your knee. I assume, Skyler, you were going to take an ACLology at Western, so
Yeah.
I'd assume you know what this is. But this is for listeners who don't know. The ACL is one of the tendons that go across your knee, between your thigh and between your shin bones. The MCL is the tendon on the inside of your knee, so the part that also connects your thigh bone to your one of your shin bones. And and he tore that, and he tore the ACL, which the ACL gets torn all the time. The MCL is a bit more rare to have that happen. But what are your guys' sort of thoughts on this injury, and how do you think it'll affect his or the rest of his NFL career?
That's tough because he was. I remember seeing this before, like he even got drafted, where uh, people were kind of saying, "Oh man, it sucks to be Joe Burrow because he's getting drafted by Cincinnati, and there's not much going on in Cincinnati." And he was doing very well when he was playing for them. Obviously, it's unfortunate that he got this injury, but I saw this thing, which I guess it sounds a lot worse than it really is. Uh, I saw this a couple years ago. I think there's like a 99% injury ratio, meaning if you're playing in the NFL, you're going to get injured at some point. So if it was written in the cards that Joe Burrow had to tear his ACL at some point and MCL, I'd rather it be now and like early in his career, aside from it being in his prime days where the standards are that much higher. Because right now he was just he was one of the better rookies coming out, or if not the best rookie coming out as a quarterback. But yeah, I'd rather that happen now than when he's 28, 27, that kind of age. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Like, you don't want to see it happen to him in his prime, and obviously this year kind of went downhill for Cincinnati as well. In multiple ways, just the fact that they haven't won as many games as they would have liked to with Burrow, and then yeah, the blowing injury as well. And yeah, I mean, you've seen some people reach out to Burrow. I've heard that Tua Tagovailoa has reached out to him as well. He was dealing with that. I think it was a hip injury heading into his draft. So he knows what it's like to go through an injury at that age. And I mean, I don't think like his career is in jeopardy or anything. Hopefully not. We don't want any of that news to come out. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for the Bengals. He's their number one guy. You don't want him to get injured in any way, and you want him to stay healthy his whole career. But yeah, I agree with Skyler. Like, if he was to get an injury like this serious, you'd rather it be in a losing season in his rookie year, and hopefully they can fix everything up right now, and he doesn't have to deal with any more knee issues moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully he doesn't have to play QB because all the other ones on his team got COVID. Unlike the Denver Broncos, who all of their QBs couldn't play on Sunday because their backup tested positive for COVID, and they were all considered close contact. So they had no QBs, and they had to use a wide receiver from their practice squad as their quarterback, who threw for more interceptions than receptions. But
yeah,
what are your guys' thoughts on the current situation in the NFL with COVID, with the Ravens having a massive outbreak with like 19 players and people in the organization testing positive, as well as other teams around the league having positive cases?
It's tough. Like, honestly, obviously, okay, it's easy to say, yeah, just do a bubble like the NBA did. And I think that was the best thing that a league could have done. But the NFL teams are huge. It's not like the NBA where like there's like 15 guys max on a roster. The NFL, there's like 50-something players on every team because you have so much different personnel. So it's hard to say or hard to organize something where they can be in a bubble like that, COVID-free. With that being said, though, do I think they still should have continued to play? No, because that's a horrible idea, especially that you guys are letting fans in the stadium as well when COVID is still so big in the States. It's not like a shock, you know what I mean? Like, they would be lying to say, oh, we didn't think any of us were going to get COVID or anything like that, you know what I mean? I think it was one of the things that they had to have thought, okay, if we're going to do this, some of us are definitely going to get COVID and we're just going to have to try and power through it. But even then, I don't think that was the best course of action,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aiden, what do you think?
No, I mean, it's hard to disagree. Like, I agree with that for sure. It's been a tricky situation. Like, so many leagues have been dealing with this, and they've handled it in different ways. And I mean, yeah, like at the start of the season, like when you hear that the NFL is considering having fans in the stadiums, it's like, really? Like, I don't think that's the best idea. And then, yeah, this whole thing with the Ravens this week has just been crazy because it's not fair to the Steelers. Like, the Ravens aren't able to get their coronavirus outbreak under control. They're not being able to keep their players safe. And then you got their opponent who has been preparing for this matchup on Sunday. Or no, it was Thursday at first. They were supposed to play a primetime game on Thanksgiving. And then it got pushed back to Sunday. And then it got pushed back to Tuesday. And now, is it today or did it get pushed back again? Is it?
No, it's today in 15 minutes.
Sorry? It's today?
It's today in 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes? Oh, yeah, it is in 15 minutes. You're right. Wow. So, I mean, hopefully that stays on time and there's no pushback. Watch it get pushed back to like 8 o'clock.
They can't push it. They can't play it tonight for some reason, and I'm blanking. There was something going on that they can't get it on national television.
Oh. Masked Singer. I don't know.
Actually might be that.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember.
It actually could be. Yeah, I don't know. Wednesday night is the Masked Singer, so it could be. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been a tricky situation, and it sucks for the teams that have had to go through it. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. Just it's a messy situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently firing through an article as to why they're playing it Wednesday afternoon. That's why. It's because NBC want to air the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting ceremony Wednesday night.
I can't miss that.
Which is why the game's being played at 3:45 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. But I think that should be all the football talk we have.
Nope, no, it's not. It's not. No? You're missing the biggest one. You're missing the biggest.
What am I missing?
You're missing. Okay, come on, man. The Detroit Lions. They fired Matt Patricia.
It's your job to put that on the doc.
No, I did it on purpose. I wanted to see if you would remember.
Of course, I'm not gonna remember that. I don't follow football.
You sent me the article too when it happened.
Oh yeah, but I think I remember that. That was like 3 days ago. I remember what happened yesterday.
I mean, it's pretty big news. Like, I've been saying it for a while. They need to get him out of town. 13, 29, and 1 in his 3 years with the Lions. That's a
really good record.
Yeah, it's a very good record. Yeah, so he's out of town along with the GM, Bob Quinn. Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. Like, it's just been a really messy 3 years in Detroit. He came in, the defensive coordinator of the Patriots, and he tried to basically make the Lions the Patriots, do everything the Patriot way, hard work in practice. These guys were exhausted, heading into week 1 because their training camps were just they were just getting overworked. So he tried to change the culture there and make it exactly like how it was in New England, and it completely backfired. They bring in guys like Danny Amendola, Jamie Collins, Trey Flowers, so many guys from the Patriots just trying to mimic the way that they used to play. But the Lions don't have Tom Brady. The Lions don't have Bill Belichick. You can't mimic the way that they did it in New England with Matthew Stafford and other surrounding pieces. So I'm glad he's out of town. I know that a lot of the players didn't like the culture that he was bringing in the locker room. You saw so many people after the firing come out on Twitter saying, bad things about Patricia, and some guys that were traded away saying, and I was the problem, but this guy's the problem. Just poking fun at him, and I'm sure it's a lot, happier in the Lions locker rooms now. And yeah, now it's just about finding a new GM and a new coach. And I don't know when that will be. Probably we'll hear some news after the Super Bowl if they make a hire there. I've heard the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator could be in talks about coming to Detroit, or the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh are two names to keep an eye out for. So yeah, I'm excited. It was definitely good to get them out of town. Let's hope they lose the rest of their games, because they got 5 games left and they get a top 3 pick, because I don't think they're not catching the Jets or the Jags.
Yeah, and actually, just real quick too, we don't have to talk that much about it. I don't remember the names specifically, but Aiden, you can probably tell me about it a little bit. Houston Texans, they're a whole mess. I know the coach got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. He's in Arizona now.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happened. In my eyes, DeAndre Hopkins is a top 2 receiver. Even sometimes he's number 1 in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went on to fire the coach that got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. So now Deshaun Watson's just there with no tools. So I thought that was like, just off the outside looking in. Obviously, I don't know all the details, but that just looked like a whole mess. I don't know why they even did that, but yeah.
Yeah, and like they didn't even get much back in that trade too. I think they only got like a 2nd-round pick for Hopkins.
Like, what?
Yeah, and like you said, Hopkins is arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and he's doing great on the Cardinals. But yeah, it just depends on I guess who your GM and your coach are. And in the case with the Texans, Bill O'Brien was the coach and he was the GM as well. So I mean, I obviously don't really agree with doing that. I think there should be a GM and a coach that are 2 different people. So I'm hoping the Lions, continue with that trend. But yeah, even like when Darius Slay got traded to the Eagles a couple of years ago, like there was no reason to do it. Like he was one of your best cornerbacks. He's in his prime. You want to win right now. And you ship him out of town because Patricia didn't think he was a good cornerback. And, even their best wide receiver right now, Kenny Golladay, I don't know if you guys know of him, but he's looking for an extension. The Lions weren't in talks with him with their GM Bob Quinn, so maybe that's a reason why he was fired as well. Like, I don't understand what the Lions are doing. I haven't really understood what they were doing the past 3 years. So I'm hoping that they can bring in someone hopefully that is maybe even an ex-Lions player, someone who knows the city, someone who knows the culture, someone who knows what this team needs to do and will bring the city together and not try and mimic like another organization. So, I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but it's the Lions, and everybody's saying that the Ford family should just sell the team and relocate, which could happen, but yeah, I hope they figure it out. And I'm excited. It's an exciting time to be a Lions fan.
Yeah.
That's the first time you've said that ever, I think.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's not. It shouldn't be an exciting time because my coach just got fired. But yeah, that's the most excitement you'll get from a Lions fan.
Well, it's not only an exciting time for your blue and white football team. It's also an exciting time for Skyler's blue and white football team.
That's a good segue,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, wasn't bad. I came up with that on the spot. But Chelsea, you are a Chelsea supporter.
No. Who told you that?
Your Facebook from 2012.
Oh man, yeah, okay. I'll live with it then. Yeah, okay. You're right.
I think you changed your profile picture in like 2012ish.
Yeah,
to Chelsea logo.
I think it does say that. Yeah.
But who are you a supporter of then? If you are not a Chelsea supporter,
United, man, United.
Oh God, it gets worse.
Worse.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, I'm what's it called? I'm a players fan more than anything. But if I had to tie myself to a team in terms of what I'll support, more often than not, like whenever they play, is going to be United.
All right, so all the notes I made on Chelsea questions that I could ask you are now useless.
Oh no, but I do know about Chelsea, like their whole like their signings and stuff.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to talk about their signings, but they're currently playing. They're leading last time I checked against Sevilla 1-0 in a Champions League game with Christian Pulisic playing at left wing. So I want to get your thoughts on Pulisic or however you want to say his name.
I say Pulisic. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Christian Pulisic. The only thing for me, and again, this is just me being me, he's American, so it's a bit, I would be a bigger fan if he wasn't American, but I'll live with it. I think he's a great player. It was unfortunate what happened to him. I think it was the end of last season where he tore his hamstring or something like that. It was a non-contact.
He's had a whole bunch of hamstring injuries. He got another hamstring injury like 3 weeks ago, just before he was about to play in a match in the warm-ups. I need to pull out of that, but he's struggled with injuries so far in his career.
Yeah, I am a fan of him, just based off what I've seen recently in his career, obviously when he was at Dortmund as well. I think Chelsea themselves, though, I mean, actually, okay, here, I want to flip the script. I want to ask you a question, actually,
Okay.
about Chelsea. Do you think the way Chelsea is built right now, meaning all of the signings that they made, obviously they had a crazy, it was like almost like one of the signings that, or a transfer window that you would have in FIFA.
Yeah.
But their transfer window, they went crazy signing everyone. Do you think the way that team is built, do you think it's sustainable?
Well, they're owned by a Russian billionaire, so I don't think they're necessarily worried about sustainability currently.
No, I meant
But
sustainable as in keeping the players, giving the players what they want. I know they have a lot of quality guys, but to me, there's a lot of quality guys and not a lot of positions to spread them out with, So you're gonna have some guys that are off the bench that maybe they expect to start, and it's just gonna cause problems, in my opinion.
yeah, I see what you're talking about. Like, you look, they have Hakeem Ziyech, they have Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic. I guess you could sort of include Olivier Giroud in this conversation. Kai Havertz, all sort of vying for the front four, I'd say, because I think they usually play with two wingers, a striker, and a cam.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, one or two of those guys are going to be left out of the picture. However, I don't think they're going to keep all of them. Like, I think Giroud, he's as good as gone. Like, once his contract ends, unless they sign him as depth and he knows he's not going to ever play, I think he's gone. And then it's between Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz, and Werner.
Well, yeah, but Tammy Abraham's there as well. He's another one.
Right, I forgot about Tammy. See, that's the problem is I forgot about Tammy Abraham, who looked incredibly promising before they got Werner, Timo Werner, from Leipzig. So I think something will give. I don't know who it will be, but I think something will give. Specifically, though, my biggest issue is their backline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, apart from aging Thiago Silva, they have no one.
Yeah, defensive. Definitely that's one of their problems. I mean, I think it was a big step up getting Edouard Mendy from, I think, where was he from? Nice, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was a huge step because Kepa, I don't know what happened with that kid, but he was, when he went there, I'm pretty sure, is he still the highest or the most expensive
goalkeeper? Most expensive goalkeeper in history.
Yeah, and you could not tell by the way he played. Everything was going in. I saw this stat. It was on Twitter that basically, if you were to look at certain statistics based on how many goals he would let in compared to shots, like the goal to shot conversion ratio. He's technically the worst keeper in the Premier League or in the top 5 leagues. Just based off of that stat alone. And I know it was one of those all-time things as well where in the past however many years, he's the worst keeper that's been in the Premier League, which is insane because he's the most expensive one as well. But it was a good job for Lampard to get Edouard Mendy. Obviously, he's been playing pretty well. And I think for Kepa, they need to try and do something. They need to maybe put him on loan is what I'm thinking so he can get his confidence back or something because you invested way too much money in him for you to just have him for like 1, 2, 3 seasons and then just let him go. You know what I mean?
I think you just have to cut your losses, to be honest. He's 26. Like, realistically, how much better is he going to get at 26? And you just brought in Mendy, so I think he could probably offload him pretty easily because of the pedigree that he carried. But, yeah, it's a very, very tough situation. Obviously, now that you're a Man United fan, what do you think about the situation at Man United currently? Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I can't say his last name.
Yeah, it took me a while too.
Do you think he's the right man for the job? And do you think that United are heading in the right direction?
Honestly, I don't know what United are doing. I don't know what direction they're going in. You look at their personnel. So if you look at the team on paper, sure, it's great. You have world-class guys, but for some reason they constantly underachieve. They're never able to do what is expected of them. And I think a big thing of that is, and even though I just complimented it with the players that they have on paper, but the personnel and the system that Solskjaer wants to play, it doesn't work. You have someone like Paul Pogba, who granted he's injured right now, but even when he's healthy, you're not playing him. But yet he's a world-class player. You know, I know Pogba gets a lot of stick because he doesn't defend as much as players would like him or people would like him to do. Because if you look at Pogba's stature, he's like a 6'3" center mid, like that's gold.
Yeah.
But he doesn't defend. And should he defend? Yes. I think every player should be a two-way player. But certain guys like Paul Pogba, he offers something offensively that not too many other midfielders can offer you. So because of that, I think he's one of those players where, as a coach or as a coaching staff, you sort of have to sort of bend to how he plays in the sense that, okay, I know Pogba doesn't like to defend or doesn't defend as frequently as I like, so I'm gonna bring in this player or I'll play this guy a little bit more. Where like is where you see like Fred and McTominay play a lot of times to compensate for him not defending. You know, the problem with the personnel though is you have Pogba, Van de Beek, and Bruno Fernandes all fighting for the same spot, which is why you signed Donny Van de Beek this offseason, but the guy is not even a starter. He was one of the best players on Ajax, and Ajax are great at producing talent, and he's not getting nearly as many minutes as he would like to on Manchester United. That's just one situation for the midfield. So I think Solskjaer as a coach needs to figure out what direction he wants to go in and what players he values more than others, because sooner rather than later, if it continues to be Pogba that's coming off the bench, he's not gonna be okay with that. He's gonna eventually speak up about, okay, I want out, and he's a top-notch player. When top-notch players speak out and say, okay, I don't want to play for this team no more, they're gonna get snapped up really quickly because other teams are looking for those kind of guys. But they're a mess, in my opinion. I don't think ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, they've never been the same, and it hasn't been getting much better, in my opinion. I think the best, and maybe just because I'm biased, the best they've gotten since then was probably the Mourinho era. But that was short-lived. And again, I'm biased. I just like Jose Mourinho. But yeah.
Yeah, he's done wonders with Tottenham so far this season. Like, they have completely turned it around. Signing Gareth Bale has been an amazing addition.
Yeah.
And Son and Kane are both playing out of their mind. But I think with United, I don't think it's a player issue. I think it's a usage issue. Like, I think they need to play like a 4-2-2 with Van de Beek playing at CDM, Pogba and Fernandes playing as the two cams, Rashford and Martial, or if you want Greenwood, playing up top, and then Van de Beek and insert McTominay or Fred here. I think that would work a lot better for the way that this team is designed. I think another... Sorry?
Sorry. You can keep going.
I was going to say, I think another huge issue is that back line is terrible.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. But yeah.
Right back. Wan-Bissaka, great.
Yeah,
It's
class.
You go left of that, it gets way worse.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where, so I agree with what you say with the 4-2-2-2, but the problem with that formation and the nature of a lot of those formations where it's narrow like that is that you need to rely a lot on your wing backs. And as much as I love Wan-Bissaka, he doesn't have, I don't think, the offensive game to support that notion. I mean, they're in the right direction because they signed Alex Telles on the left side, so that kind of helps. He's more of an offensive. Yeah. So that helps a lot bringing him in, but it's not enough to only have one side, because when you play narrow like that, your wingbacks need to provide all the width on your team. All the spacing needs to come from them. And Wan-Bissaka, I think he's fit enough to do it. We know he's great defensively, but I don't think he has the offensive game to make that system effective enough. But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, there's definitely deeper issues than just a formation change. But I think they're heading in sort of the right direction, as opposed to whatever is happening in Real Madrid and Barcelona, because Real Madrid lost to Shakhtar Donetsk, which, Aiden, I'm going to ask you this to try to get involved a little bit in the soccer conversation. Where do you think Shakhtar Donetsk are from?
Real Madrid lose to Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't know, somewhere in Spain.
I should before you say that, this is a Champions League game.
Oh,
so this is just all of Europe.
All over?
And
oh my god.
It is not Spain, I'll tell you that.
I could...
Don't you dare Google it.
Maybe Germany? Germany?
No, a little bit more
No.
more east than Germany.
I'm not good. I'm not good with my geography here. I don't know.
Russia are
Closer
not
to
a
like
fan of this country.
closer
France,
around that,
France.
like, no, mate. I said east.
That's the wrong direction.
Germany. I don't know. Belgium, is that close?
That's again the wrong direction.
Wrong.
I don't know.
Come on,
I don't know my geography.
Oh,
You're putting me on the spot.
They're from Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay.
Yeah.
Ukrainian team lost to Real Madrid 2-0.
Hmm. I don't know what's going on in Real Madrid. It's weird because I honestly think that Real Madrid, for the most part, are one of the best run clubs in Europe. Just from the sense that if you look at their core group of guys now, so for example, Karim Benzema up top, he's like 32. He's getting up there in age. Luka Modric is like 35. Toni Kroos is 31. Sergio Ramos is like 34. And Marcelo is getting up there in the 30s as well. But if you look at their bench, for the most part, they have guys that can step in and do a job right away. Like Fede Valverde, who's probably one of the most sought after young midfielders right now, can probably just pick right up where Modric left off. They're already kind of integrating into the team. Martin Odegaard as well is another one who's young, and they're integrating him into the team as well. Rodrigo, Vinicius, all these guys. But at the back, Rafael Varane, I'm a huge fan, or I was I still am. I'm still a fan of Varane, but I don't think he's the one that they can leave as the center back when Sergio Ramos leaves. The mistakes that happen when it's just Rafael Varane at the back it's shocking. It would never happen with Sergio Ramos. So yeah, I think they definitely need to pull the trigger on a center back. I know David Alaba came out and said that he wants to play in Spain, either for Real Madrid or Barcelona. I don't know why they didn't snap right at that. They were flirting for a while last season with Kalidou Koulibaly from Napoli. Never pulled the trigger on that either. But clock's ticking. I think because Sergio Ramos only has so many more years left in him of playing at world-class level before you're going to need to find a replacement. And I don't think that replacement is Rafael Varane.
Do you think it could be Eder Militao before we do our hot takes and live portion of the show? Because I think we will continue on, if you're good with that, on YouTube.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Eder Militao definitely is not the one. That guy. And okay, wait. What do you think of Eder Militao?
I think he's great on FIFA.
Yeah, okay, on FIFA, sure, but in real life, this guy, I've seen some of the goals and mistakes I've seen this guy make. Oh my goodness. He's almost the worst center back, or might be the worst center back I've ever seen. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing a lot of times, and the goals that I've seen him give up, his positioning is all out of whack, and it just looks like he's uncomfortable in that position. So I don't think he's the one either that they need. I think they need to just straight up bring someone else in, which shouldn't be too hard. You guys are Real Madrid at the end of the day. But yeah.
Very, very true. They have a lot of work ahead of them. Let's put it that way. But I think we'll end the Spirit Live portion of the show with our hot takes because it's the last episode. We want to thank everybody who's listened so far and do our whole closing goodbyes. But Skyler, because we didn't tell you, as we always forget, at the end of each show, we do a segment called Hot Takes, where we give a hot take. So in the past, Aiden's predicted that Matt Patricia would be fired by the Detroit Lions. And
so you got it right.
Well, I think I said before the trade deadline, so that's not the best one.
What he did get right was he predicted Mike Babcock would be fired within 2 weeks, and he was fired within 2 weeks.
I love predicting my favorite team's coach firings. That's what I do best.
Who's next?
Who's next? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll actually talk more about coach firings when we continue on YouTube because I have some thoughts. But we will wrap up with our hot takes. Aiden, because you already have yours, can you tell us what your hot take is? Well, Skylar and I think of one on the spot.
Yeah. If you didn't catch it earlier, everybody's saying Evander Kane would beat Logan Paul. I just don't see it happening. I think you're underestimating these YouTubers when they're actually, boxers. They've been boxing for a while. I would say Logan Paul will beat Evander Kane, and it's going to be in the first round, and it's going to be by KO.
KO. All right. So you got specific, too.
Yep. Not a TKO, KO.
I think my hot take that I'm thinking of right on the spot, and you know what? I'm actually going to use the opportunity to plug myself. Make sure to go check out the last episode of the Random Podcast one I just put up today because I was talking about this in this podcast. My hot take is that Cristiano Ronaldo leaves Juventus, or they want to get rid of him anyways. So he leaves Juventus and he's going to join PSG, and they're going to win Champions League whenever that happens.
PSG?
Yeah, PSG. Funding wise, I think that works. It'll work. Like the money works out because obviously their backing financially is insane. Winning Champions League is just in the sense they already got the Champions League final without him. The reason why they didn't win that Champions League final is pretty much just because Neuer, for some reason, was playing like how he did when he was in his prime. But I've never seen a keeper been able to stop Ronaldo one-on-one, so that's not happening. And then the only reason why I'm saying PSG is just because Ronaldo has come out and said multiple times that he looks for challenges. So he's done everything in England. He's done everything in Spain. I think the next natural progression is France. I don't think he'll go to Germany because Bayern Munich, that's just not going to happen because of Lewandowski. And then Borussia Dortmund, I just don't think they have a mold for Ronaldo. So the next step to me is in the French league, and who else are you going to go to other than PSG?
I like it. There's like a lot of real thought behind it. It sort of makes sense. I want to talk more about that once we continue on YouTube, which you can go and check out our YouTube at The Big League. Scroll past the two Tom Cochran songs, and we're the first channel that pops up. You can click there. Our live stream will continue, and it will be there forever, hopefully. But yeah, my hot take to wrap us up, I'm going to make it hockey related, and I will say the NHL won't drop the puck until at least February. But with that, we're down to less than a minute on the show. So I wanted to thank everyone for listening this semester. It's been a ton of fun. We hope to be back next semester. We will continue the show over the Christmas break and over the holiday break on YouTube. So as I said, you can go to our YouTube and you can check out all of our episodes that we've done, and we'll have more guests on, continue to do these shows. But thank you for listening. We really, really appreciate it. Skyler, thank you for coming on. We'll wrap up this episode and say thank you for listening. Stay safe, wear a mask, physically distance, and we will hopefully see you next semester. Peace. All right, so nice. We are good. You guys take off. Aiden's in the big league thing.
Yeah, Skyler, I just sent you another email.
Cool.
We got to get out of here.
Podcast. Just real quick though.
Yep.
Probably gonna have to cut off at maybe like 4:15 just because I got work. Yeah. A little bit.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
No problem.
Awesome. All right, see you guys in that call.
Yep. Okay. See ya. All right, we're still going.
Nice.
So yeah, let's wrap up with European soccer, then we'll let you take off, Skylar, and then Aiden and I continue talking basketball, hockey.
For sure.
Yeah, if you're good with that, Aiden, but I can't do very long to make a 5 to 8 minute sense since it's a song tonight, which I haven't even started.
Oh.
Actually, speaking of basketball, did you guys see that the notification that we popped up as we were talking? Pistons signed LiAngelo Ball.
Yeah, to a 10-day.
Yeah.
Exhibit 10.
Oh.
Yeah. So shout out LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
All three of his sons are in the league now.
That's crazy. Nice. Good for him.
But yeah, are we still going?
Yeah, we're going. We're live.
All right. So thank you to anyone who has switched over. Skylar will have to take off in 15 minutes because he has a life and a job. But we'll quickly wrap up talking European. Do you want to talk European or do you want to talk North American soccer?
Because of you, I think we should talk North American. A lot has gone on, especially TFC. You know, obviously Greg Vanny, all that kind of stuff. So TFC.
That is a good way of putting it. I touched on it a little bit on my other podcast, the MLS Multiplex podcast, which you can go and check out. We talked a bit about some of the roster moves that Toronto made. But the big news that broke yesterday was Greg Vanny has stepped down as Toronto FC manager. He was out of a contract at the end of the season. He had one in place that he could have signed that I think they both agreed to. But he decided that he wanted to step away and he wanted to spend some time with family because he's a family man, as has been made abundantly clear. He was very emotional in his press conference. I believe he's cried a few times when speaking about certain people, specifically the players. But it was sort of shocking news. Like, I don't know, either you or Skyler, you or Aiden, do you have any sort of thoughts on him stepping down?
I mean, it's one of how long has he been there for? He's been there for a while.
He's joined the club in August of 2014.
Yeah, so the last 6 years, and obviously we won the MLS Cup, made it to the finals multiple times. So
Three times.
he had 3 times, yeah. So he had a huge impact on the team. Speaking from a player's standpoint, because I know how it feels when coaches leave, it's a big shock to a lot of players, especially guys that got their start and started to make their name for themselves under Greg Vanny. To see him go, and then do they have someone in line to take that job? Like, do they have an interim coach or something like that?
They do not. They don't have a game because obviously they're out of the playoffs, which we're not going to talk about because I don't want to cry on air. I'm kidding. But they don't have anyone in mind. They do have a short list. One of the names is being reported by Josh Cloak and Pablo Maurer. I can't say his name. Pablo from The Athletic. If you follow North American soccer, you know who he is. But they are reporting that Ben Olsen, who is the former DC United head coach, is potentially in the mix. Dwayne Rollins, who hosts the ESPN show, which is soccer, he threw out some theories in terms of other candidates, one of which you may have heard of Skyler, Jesse Marsh, who is the head coach of RB Salzburg.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So they have some guys. Just the only problem is, as a player, you need to hope that, well, I don't want to say just hope, but it's in your best interest that this coach that comes in, obviously every single coach has a different philosophy, different mindset, and values different things. So if you're a player that got your start under Greg Vanny, you know what Greg Vanny likes, and you were a key part in his system, it's not to say that it's going to be the same when this new coach steps in. You know, this coach might value this over that, and just because of that, now maybe you're going to be coming off the bench. Maybe your time is going to be cut in half. It's tough. It's tough as a player to see one coach go and have another one come in, just because you hope that you're in this coach's plans.
Yeah, it's just a very interesting situation. Like, everybody knew he was out of contract. They knew that it was a possibility that they wouldn't bring him back. It sounds like they wanted to bring him back pretty desperately. But it does leave them with a lot of options. Another coach who's out of contract, who I don't even think has started negotiating with their team, is Brian Schmetzer from Seattle Sounders, who I think that'd be a great hire by Toronto if they could get him. I think it's incredibly unlikely because I don't think Seattle lets him go. But he's experienced tremendous success with Seattle. But it is going to be interesting. This offseason is going to be absolutely insane from a Toronto FC perspective. They have an open DP slot after Piatti's contract option was not taken by the team. And as a result, they're currently negotiating with him to try to get him on a TAM contract, which would be great. But yeah, it's going to be very, very busy. Like, 3 of their 6 main backline pieces are all out of contract, of which I really only want them to keep 1. So we could potentially be looking at a complete backline restructuring. I want them to sell Josie Altidore if they can.
Really?
Do you think he has any value?
No. That's the problem. I
Yeah.
said I'd like them to sell Josie Altidore if they can.
What,
which-
just because of the contract?
Yes, he makes a lot of money. He makes like $6.5 million. Six and a half
Goodness
mil.
me.
Yeah. There were rumors at some point this season or last offseason that there was a Spanish club potentially interested in him. But after the season he just had, where he was dreadful and didn't even, like, if you got 30 minutes out of him, it was a success. It's going to be tough to offload that contract, but yeah, it's going to be a very busy offseason for Toronto, to say the least. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on like MLS in general and just the league? I don't know how closely you follow MLS.
The MLS, I think it's becoming slowly but surely. I think the MLS is becoming a bigger and bigger league. One, because it's North America, so the market's already going to be huge. But two, you're seeing more and more frequently now that guys that are winners in the Euro leagues, like the top leagues in Europe, are coming over here. Some of them a lot more premature than others, like Ibrahimovic. Obviously, he came to LA Galaxy and was playing here for a couple years, and then now look at him, he's back at AC Milan. He's like the top scorer in this area.
I was going to say, you're welcome, AC Milan. We're responsible for that.
But they're seeing more and more guys. Like now, even more recently, World Cup winner Blaise Matuidi's there, and
let's
Salah
not talk
Ibrahimovic.
about him because
Why?
woof his effort against Nashville.
Oh, has he not been playing that well? I haven't been keeping up with that.
He got outpaced by a guy named Dax McCarty, who's 34 years old and has been a career MLS player and is notorious for being slow.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ignore I said anything about him. Just acknowledge the names that come into the MLS. I think
huge names.
Yeah. So I think because of that, obviously the interest for soccer is growing a lot more in North America. And then the more and more guys that come through, like obviously there's been legends to come play in the MLS. Thierry Henry, David Beckham, Andrea Pirlo, Frank Lampard, Kaká, Steven Gerrard. Yeah, another one. I can't believe I didn't say that right after Frank Lampard. But, a whole lot of guys are coming. So it's getting to be a bigger and bigger league. And because of that, I think the standards are also raising a lot more. When you have a guy like Zlatan Ibrahimovic who's outspoken and says it how it is, if your team isn't good, he's going to let you know. And then as a coach or as a coaching staff, that's your best player. You need to try and keep that player happy. Mm-hmm. And it's just, in turn, it's going to up the standard, up the overall level of play in the MLS. So I think it's good for the league that a lot of these guys are coming over to the MLS in their ending of the days. But yeah.
Yeah, one of my big takes and one of my big beliefs is I think MLS will be a top 10 league on the planet by 2026. I think it could potentially be top 6 by 2030.
I actually wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't go against that. Right now, where do you have them? Because I would put them, in terms of market-wise and like fan attraction, I'd put them in the top 10 now, I think.
I'm talking more specifically just talent.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Yeah, I think market-wise, they're huge. They're so much bigger than a lot of leagues. But talent-wise, I think I've done it in my head, and I think they're around top 15, top 20 at the minimum. But I think they'll be ahead of the Belgian league, like all those European leagues that are like, people say, oh, championship is better than MLS. But in reality, I think if 2017 Toronto FC had played in the Premier League, they would have finished not in relegation. Let's put it that way. Like, they were an unbelievable team. And I think you're seeing more and more of that as you see different talent come to MLS and see talent being sold by MLS. Like, there's rumors that the guy who, I'm blanking on his name, he replaced Reggie Cannon on FC Dallas. And that happened maybe 2 months ago. And there's already talk of Juventus putting in a bid for like $5 to $6 or $6 to $7 million for him.
Wow.
As a fullback. And like, you look at Miguel Almiron and what he's done with Newcastle. You look at Davies and what he's done with Bayern.
Yeah, perfect.
Tyler Adams. Everyone forgets he played in MLS. He was on Red Bull. Like, there's some serious talent in this league, and it's getting to the point where I think people are starting to realize and starting to acknowledge North American players are really good.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason that Reggie Cannon is playing in Europe. There's a reason Sergino Dest is playing for Barcelona and starting for Barcelona.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things too that, I mean, I can say it now, but it won't really have as much value. But I've been saying for the last couple of years that this age group, so the 2000s age group, in and around that, so 2000s, a little bit 99s, and 2001s, 2002s, that age group is insane, at least in Canada. Because from what I've seen, I've been playing, so I see a lot of these guys. Obviously, Jonathan David, Iowa Canola, Alfonso Davies are some of the lead guys to come out of North America alone at a 2000 age group. But you see a lot of talent, and it's to the point where I'm playing, and you play against guys that are, say, 97s or 96s, and yeah, they're older, so they're bigger, faster, stronger than you, but mentally they don't think the game as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So it's kind of like, it does surprise me, but it does at the same time to see that so many guys at this age group are going on to do so many big things in the world of football, you know? So I'm really looking forward to seeing how all these players develop as they get, into their prime years and all kind of stuff. Because like you said, I think it's going to be a huge cultural shift. So people shift more attention onto North America, into the MLS, and seeing, okay, there's actually talent here. This isn't just where people go to retire. It's actually good, development programs and everything like that.
Yeah, this is the golden age of North American soccer, period. And speaking of Iowa Canola, I forgot to bring this up. He just got called into the U.S. Men's National Team camp for their game against El Salvador, December 9th.
Nice.
So we'll see whether or not he plays. This doesn't cap time, so Canadians can still hope that he'll join us. But yeah, he's playing for the U.S., and that's pretty huge. So
it's interesting too. Have you heard of Io's younger brother?
You've mentioned him before with me. Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Tim, I think, or Tom. I think it's Timmy or something like that. And literally a carbon copy of what Io is. The exact same build, maybe a little bit stronger than him, but the way they play, it's the exact same. He is another one. He's a monster as well. I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know where he's playing, if he's still playing at all, but he's definitely going to be one of those names that are really good.
Let's see. Tim Akinola. Let's look him up. Player profile. He's got a transfer market page. He's at Lincoln City FC.
Where is that?
Oh, wait. Nope, that's not him. That is an English guy. So there's another Tim Akinola. Oh, maybe it's Tom Akinola. That would be it. I think he's playing in the NCAA.
Yeah, him. He's very good.
Yeah, that would be him. He's been a part of Toronto FC's academy.
How do you spell Akinola?
Akinola.
Oh, okay.
2 A's at the front, though. AA.
No, there's only one A.
Is there?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, snap. I'm tripping. My fault.
5'10", 180, right-footed, 19. Forward. All right. North College student athlete.
Yeah, so actually there's my hot take. If he becomes something good, you guys heard it here first on the Big League Show.
Tom Akinola is going to be someone.
The next Messi.
Not quite. Not quite.
But yeah, it's 4:15, guys, so I got to hop off.
You got to take off. So
I really appreciate all of this. This was awesome. Super fun. Hope to be back on the show soon. You guys could also come on at any point to the Random Podcast. Maybe have both of you guys on.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, this was tons of fun. So we'll be in touch. I'll send you guys the server link, all that kind of stuff for the Random Podcast. But yeah, this was awesome.
100%.
Awesome,
Thank you so much for coming on, Skyler. We really appreciate it. It's been a while, and we took a lot of your time. But good luck at work tonight.
Yeah, have a good
after this podcast.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, we'll link all of Skyler's stuff down below. Aiden and I will continue to talk a little bit of basketball and a little bit of hockey. But other than that, we shouldn't be going for much longer. But Skyler, thank you for joining us. We will talk to you at some point, and keep an eye out for the Random Podcast over whether or not we will make an appearance.
Yeah, you guys probably definitely will. As soon as I sort out how to bring a guest onto the podcast, that's definitely going to happen. But yeah, like I said, man, thank you so much for having me on the show. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. We'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds
Thank
good,
you,
man.
man.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Easy.
have a good one.
All right, man.
All
Okay.
right, see ya, see ya.
That was very, very good.
That was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good guest. Skyler, if you haven't been paying attention to who he is or some of the stuff that he does, like, he's a very, very good host.
Oh, yeah.
So keep an eye out for him in the future because he's a talented, talented man. But I think we'll quickly fire through stuff because, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this was picked up on the stream, but I got a lot of work to do tonight.
Yeah, I think it was. Definitely was.
Yeah, so we'll fire through the signings. We'll mention like a couple of things in terms of the Raptors, but yeah, it shouldn't be too much. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson signed with the Timberwolves. Don't need to talk about that. De'Aaron Fox signed with signed a max extension with the Sacramento Kings. Montrezl Harrell signed a 2-year, $19 million deal with the Lakers, which resulted in the next move, which was Serge Ibaka signed a 2-year, $19 million deal with the Clippers.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about that deal a little bit. The Raptors reportedly offered him 1 year, $12 million, but he didn't take it. So what do you think about the Raptors losing Ibaka?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a big loss. I think I mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago with Jelani. Like, it's not so much what he does on the court, but it's off the court and helping out the guys in the locker room. And I'm glad the Raptors, tried to get him 1 year for $12 million. Like, that's a decent offer, but I guess Ibaka, he wanted to reunite with Kawhi, and he saw the opportunity in LA to win a championship. So, I mean, I don't think Raptors fans need to hold anything against him. I saw some people upset with him on social media, but this guy did a lot for our city, and you see what he does on social media, promoting Toronto and helping our young guys develop. So, I mean, obviously it's a big loss for our team, and it doesn't help us move forward into next year. We definitely take a step back, but I mean, yeah, we just got to wish him the best, and it's a good deal. I think we were kind of expecting him to get something around that, like maybe even a bit more than $8 million a year. But
8.5.
Eight and a half a year, yeah.
Math.
Wait, isn't it more? Isn't it 9? Isn't it like, yeah, it's 9.5.
Oh yeah, it's 9.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
9.5.
that
Yeah.
backfired.
Yeah. Yes. So exactly, like he could have gotten more than that. I guess he could have gotten more of an average if he stayed in Toronto. But yeah, I guess, I mean, the opportunity to play in LA is a tough one to pass up on.
Yeah, and as a creator like he is, that is going to be quite the opportunity for him to capitalize on his brand and what he's trying to create. But we'll move on to the next signing, which was Gordon Hayward signing a 4-year, $120 million deal with the Charlotte Hornets, which came out of nowhere after he opted out of his contract with Boston. In order to fit Gordon Hayward's contract into the cap and be able to sign him, Charlotte had to waive Nicholas Batum. So now the deal is effectively $30 million a year for Gordon Hayward. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, for a guy who's been dealing with injuries. But, I mean, it's Charlotte. It is Charlotte. Like, they can do it. They can afford it. And maybe they needed a big name piece there to help them out. But yeah, you're right. It's a lot of money, but at the same time, it is Charlotte, and they can afford to do it.
I guess they have a lot of guards, but I guess it is what it is. Next signing, Tristan Thompson signed a 2-year, $19 million deal with Boston. So the Raptors get to deal with Tristan Thompson again continually.
I thought that was a little bit much. 19.
Yeah, it was a little bit much, but again, they're signing a center. They didn't have one.
Right.
So it sort of makes sense. Like, the center market wasn't amazing this season. So,
yeah,
I guess get someone when you can, while you can. I don't know. I didn't love the signing either. Jason Tatum signed a 5-year, $195 million extension with Boston. Player option in year 5. Another subsequent move for the Raptors is Marc Gasol signed a 2-year, $5.3 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Raptors lost both of their starting centers, which was not ideal, but
was that 5.3 mil total or average? Yeah. Wow,
total.
That's cheap.
Well, you have to remember he's 34 or 36 or something in that range.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting older. He isn't what he used to be, and he's getting a 2-year deal.
Right.
Which
he was going to go to Spain anyway, so I guess this is more than what he was making there. Yeah.
That was the rumor. But it's big for him getting the 2-year deal because nobody's getting 2-year deals because of which is the reason that the Raptors didn't sign both of these players, just to keep their options open for this offseason or next offseason. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Next signing, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I only put this in because I love to say his name. Signed a 4-year, $72 million qualifying offer with Atlanta. Sacramento didn't match it, so he's now an Atlanta Hawk. This is after the Milwaukee Bucks tried to trade for him, and he didn't agree to the trade. So congratulations, Milwaukee. Bam Adebayo signed a 5-year, $163 million deal with the Heat. Brandon Ingram signed a 5-year, $158 million deal with New Orleans. This deal can grow to $195 million based on bonuses, etc. So that was quite the signing. All 3 of those. Big money, as well as the next deal, which was Donovan Mitchell signing a 5-year, $195 million deal, which is the rookie max extension with the Utah Jazz. $163 million of that is guaranteed. And that is it for the general NBA.
Mm-hmm. I saw
you through that a lot.
You threw in Raptors. What's in specific there?
Well, I just listed every single Raptor signing. Actually, I didn't. I put this in the wrong place. I'm stupid. There was a big signing today, which I don't know if you saw.
Oh, right, yeah. I saw from Northside Talks, actually.
Yes, shout out Northside Talks. A Mr. LeBron James, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a bit of a nobody. Signed a 2-year, $85 million extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. This takes him to free agency in 2023, which is the year Bronny, his son, graduates from high school, and depending on what the NBA and NBAPA decide, could potentially make him eligible for the NBA draft. So if you're an NBA team and you want a 36-year-old LeBron, I suggest taking Bronny in that year because it's not a coincidence, in my opinion, that he only signed a 2-year extension.
Yeah. That kind of came out of nowhere, this deal.
It did.
Yeah, like nobody would have thought that he was in talks with an extension, but yeah, I mean it's good. He's the best player in the league still, probably. He's gotta get paid, and yeah.
Yep. I guess it's gonna be interesting to see what he does in 2023. But let's mention the trades first before we talk about the Raptors and specifics. We'll wrap up with the Raptors. I don't think we'll do hockey talk this week. We'll do the quick hockey talk and mention some stuff that broke. But specifically trades, Philadelphia and Dallas, Josh Richardson and the 36th pick went to the Mavericks in exchange for Seth Curry, which interesting trade. Gives Philadelphia some shooting, and it gives Dallas pretty good defensive guard in Richardson. So we'll see how that trade ends up. And then there was a 4-team, just absolutely gigantic trade, which I will pull up now, the full details. Shout out to Thunderwire for all the details because, wow. But basically, the Pelicans got Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, as well as 2024 and 2026 first round, a 2024 first rounder, a 2026 first round pick swap, 2025, 2027 unprotected first round picks. Okay, this is
that's a lot. That's a lot of first round picks.
Yeah, I think that 2024 and 2026 are pick swaps.
2024, 2022 first round pick swap from the Bucks. Yeah, because there's a semicolon there. Yeah. And then 2025 and 2027 unprotected first round picks.
Yes.
Okay. So they got 4 in total.
Yeah, 4 in total. The Bucks got Drew Holiday and 2020 second round pick, which was number 60, in Sam Merrill. So basically the big return in that is Drew Holiday. In terms of the Pelicans' return, the big return are all the first round picks, Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, so the entire trade. The Nuggets got a 2020 first round pick, which was RJ Hampton. And I guess nothing else?
The Thunder got...
Yeah, well, I'm
everything.
Looking at the Nuggets. I guess the Nuggets got nothing else?
Yeah, the Nuggets got nothing else, I guess, yeah.
All right.
Well, who did they give up? Who did the Nuggets give up?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
A 2023 first-round pick went to the Thunder.
There we go. That would be it.
Yeah.
So the Thunder got Hill.
Yes.
Yes, Hill. I'm blanking on which Hill. What's his first name? George Hill. Thank you. He was the guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. Miller, who suffered an Achilles injury that cost him all of last season. So we'll see whether or not he can recover. He's a career 38% three-point shooter, I guess. Williams, I believe that's Josh Williams.
Kenrich Williams.
Kenrich.
Kenrich Williams.
Where are you seeing all these first names?
It's on the link that you put in the doc.
Where? Did
you click on the wrong link?
Oh, I am so dumb. I scrolled too far down.
Oh.
I was reading diving into the details on the trade. This makes more sense and a lot easier. All right, so the Thunder got George Hill, Darius Miller, Josh Gray, Zylan Chetham, sorry buddy if I'm saying your name wrong, Kenrich Williams, as well as a lottery-protected first-round pick from Denver, 2023 second-round pick from via Washington, which that was owned by someone else, obviously, and a 2024 second-round pick from Charlotte. It's quite the trade. Steven Adams then promptly signed a 2-year, $35 million contract extension with New Orleans. So that is them solidifying their center position for the next 2 years. And having a front court of him and Zion is going to be very interesting. But I don't think there's much you really want to add to this trade unless you do.
No, it's a crazy trade. 4-team trades are always interesting. Even 3-team trades. They're not common, but if a team gets what they want and it works out, and like for a team like the Nuggets, who were kind of just like a throw-in to this trade, it seemed like they only did a first-round pick swap basically, but they were still able to get what they wanted, I guess, and yeah.
Yep. And then last bit of non-Raptors related news, as my voice is starting to die. Klay Thompson suffered a torn Achilles.
That's big. That's not good at all. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough for the Warriors. But, yeah, I mean, he's a big piece. I know there's even rumors right now that them talking to, like, James Harden, potentially getting him to come there. Imagine that. Harden, Curry, and Thompson, and Draymond. But yeah, I mean,
one of those players would have to go back in that trade.
I don't know. Well, definitely not. Well, it wouldn't be Klay because he's injured. It wouldn't be Steph, so it would have to be Draymond. Draymond plus a bunch of first-round
Draymond
picks.
Probably plus James Wiseman, who they took second overall.
Really, you think they would just trade him like that?
Well, what else are they going to give up? Actually, maybe Andrew Wiggins. Maybe it could be centered around Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins.
Right.
With a ton of first-round picks. I don't know. I think they just called and inquired, like, what would it take to get him?
Right,
said Steph Curry, and they promptly hung up the phone.
Yeah, true. One for
but
one.
We don't really know.
Yeah.
1 for 1.
Yeah.
That would be just an insane trade.
That's like, yeah, I don't even know what that would be like. I was gonna say Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. No, definitely not.
Not quite.
There must be trades like
Wendell
that though.
Clark for Matt Sundin.
That never happened though, did it?
Wasn't that the?
Was that an actual trade?
Wasn't that Quebec Nordique's Leafs trade?
I didn't
think-
know it
I'm
was.
pretty sure it
I
was
don't know
Wendell
it was
Clark.
Sundin. Wendell.
Pretty sure that was the trade.
Yeah, you might be right. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wendell Clark for Matt Sundin. Wow. Yeah, you're right. I didn't know that was the same trade. Wow, that's a
Yeah, there
that
were
is a
obviously
massive
pieces
trade.
involved, but
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's very similar to
Um,
that.
Maybe you can't really say Dion Phaneuf trade because that was Phaneuf for a bunch of pieces.
No, definitely not. Shea Weber for PK Subban, something like that.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
That would be a very good example because they're both. I think that's a similar situation in terms of I think James Harden might drop off pretty soon because he's older than Steph.
And
I
stuff.
think
Right. Yes.
it won't happen, but
No.
it would be interesting.
Yeah.
But it sucks for Clay. It's a really tough break after his ACL injury and him missing all of last season, and now he's missing all of this season, upcoming season, which starts on the 22nd. So we're getting close to basketball.
Very soon, yeah.
We're 20 days away from basketball.
I still don't know how they're gonna pull it off, but we'll see.
NFL kind of did it. MLB did it. MLS did it.
Yeah.
Although MLS is now having outbreaks too, but we'll ignore that.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the Raptors quickly, and then we can finish off with some hockey. Some
Sure.
hockey.
Sure.
We'll start with their signings. Specifically, the biggest signing, Fred VanVleet, to a
Yes.
4-year, $85 million extension or deal. Both, I guess. Huge contract. Huge signing for Toronto, solidifying their backcourt. What do you think about the deal?
I mean, it's great to have him back. Like, yeah, I'm not too concerned about the money. Like, we should have enough space if we were to get after Giannis still. And
Yep.
Van Fleet, like, he's a good player. You needed him at this point. You lose Ibaka, you lose Gasol. You're losing a lot of depth with those guys, and you had to make sure you signed Van Fleet, or you probably lose the offseason. If you let Van Fleet walk away, then you lose the offseason, and then, I mean, the Raptors become a team that might be fighting for a playoff spot next year, like just barely squeaking in, or maybe not even making the playoffs at all. So signing him definitely gives them a better chance. And it's big, you know. He was a huge part of their championship run. He's definitely taken major strides ever since he got here. He's improving his game every single year. He's on that all-star trend, I would say. He loves it here. His kid was born here. And just the whole story with Fred VanVleet, everybody knows it. Like, bet on yourself. This guy was underestimated his whole career. And now he gets his big paycheck, and he deserves it.
Yeah, fully agree. It's been a very big underdog story in terms of not getting drafted and then working his way through the Raptors system, playing in the G League, and now being like, as you said, a borderline all-star. This season, he could be one with the fact that they have no front court.
Yeah, they got nothing, yeah.
Which leads us to our next signing, which is the only main front court piece they signed, apart from a re-signing, which we'll talk about in a second as well. But Aaron Bain signed a 2-year, $14.3 million deal. The second year is a team option.
Yeah.
In other words, unless he's an all-star, he is not coming
He's
back.
not coming back, yeah. Is this guy, like, is he going to be a starter, you think?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He was actually pretty good for Phoenix this season.
Right, yeah.
Like, he had some really good success when DeAndre Ayton was out because of his suspension.
Yeah, I think it's probably an upgrade over Gasol, right?
It would be an upgrade over Gasol, but yeah, I think it would be an upgrade over Gasol.
Yeah.
Not so much Ibaka. But
Yeah, that's tough, but they had to do it. It was kind of like a panic move. Like you have to do it just for the position. You need this guy, and like they got him for cheaper than what they would have given Ibaka as well. So
mhm.
that's good too. And maybe he can definitely reach what Ibaka was on the Raptors. So I mean it could work out. And obviously Nick Nurse is a great coach, so he'll help him out a lot and play him in good situations and give him the minutes that he deserves. So yeah, I mean it could work out. I don't think it's a very risky move, and the reward is very high.
Yeah, it's definitely more than he would have made, but that's the price that they have to pay in order to get that team option in the second year
Mm-hmm.
to really leave their options open for next season. Which I have a theory, which should have been my hot take today, but I forgot. Which maybe I'll bring up
Next
later.
week? Yeah.
Either next week or today. I'm debating.
Okay.
Yeah, they also signed Chris Boucher, or re-signed Chris Boucher to a 2-year, $13.5 million deal. I haven't seen this confirmed anywhere, but I'm going to assume there's a second-year team option on this deal. Just again to leave their options open for next season. But I haven't seen that confirmed. I like Boucher. He was one of the best per 36, like points per 36. It's either points or impact per 36 contributors in the NBA.
Okay. Maybe
Like
it's impact. I don't know if it's points.
Yeah. He's crazy when he was contributing as Toronto's third signer. So we'll see whether or not that can carry over to harder competition.
Yeah.
But he's getting up there in age. He's 28. So
Fellow Canadian. So
yes, Montreal boy.
yeah.
I don't know. It's again not really a very risky signing, and it's a player the organization knows. So
It's a signing.
yeah, it's a signing. Like the next guy who was just a signing, DeAndre Bembry, who signed a 2-year, $4 million deal with the Raptors. The second year is not guaranteed.
So this guy's just a bench guy. Just depth.
He played for the Atlanta Hawks, and the reason they signed him is because Marcus Smart got really mad at him once and wanted to fight him.
Ooh.
So I think that's like the only reason they signed him.
That's why they signed him.
Well, why not?
I guess. Just to take off the Celtics, yeah. Especially after that series loss. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, get under their skin. He's good at that. But final Raptors signing was Alex Len to a 1-year, $2.8-ish million deal. I don't know the exact amount, which I think was basically just a veteran's minimum. But I don't know. Like, he's a third center. So you can't really complain about that.
No. Yeah, I'm glad that they've added some depth.
Yeah.
And they've done a decent job of replacing Ibaka and Gasol, but nothing too exciting, I guess, other than the Van Fleet signing. But that doesn't help them. Like I don't think they've improved yet. Like they're definitely gonna have to have their play on the court make the difference this year, because I don't think a big signing is gonna change anything, or like a signing like Baines isn't gonna make them better, or re-signing Boucher or Bembry. Like there wasn't any flashy move, but it's what they had to do, and it might be good enough. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be like that. We won't be as competitive as last year, I don't think.
We'll see. For all we know, Pascal Siakam could just have the season of his career.
Yeah,
and
I think he will. I think he will have
LeBron.
I think he will have a great season too, especially after all the backlash. Like, I think he'll be very good.
And especially with how much he's going to be playing, because there's the very real possibility that they play a lot of small ball, in which case he will be our center.
True.
Which, as a result of that, I also think OG Anunoby could have a huge season.
Yeah.
And
Van Fleet too. Like they're young guys just coming into their prime now. So you're right. Those three guys, and then they still got Kyle Lowry. You can't count him out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting offseason, going to be an interesting season for the Raptors that start in 20 days in Tampa Bay, because that's where they're starting their season and probably playing their entire season based on what Prime Minister Trudeau, said yesterday or 2 days ago about the possibility of opening the border, which he said wouldn't happen until the world has coronavirus under control.
Yeah. Maybe we get some playoffs in Toronto.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe they figure out some sort of way to play. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff is up in the air right now.
Mm-hmm.
And currently they're living in Tampa, which there's worse places to live. Although Florida isn't exactly handling COVID the best, but we'll ignore that. They're playing at Amalie Arena.
It's where the Lightning play.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
It is.
Yeah, okay. So I guess they are able to convert it. My interpretation of this is the government was okay with the Raptors' proposal, but because of the number of cases going on right now in both Canada and the US, because Canada, we're seeing a lot of spiked cases, so if you're going out, don't. Yeah, I just think the optics weren't good, and even though their plan would have been solid and the government liked it, they couldn't do it right now. So if President-elect Biden, because he's president-elect, it's not up for debate anymore. If he ends up actually getting COVID under control, or if a vaccine gets out, like, dude, today, I don't know if you saw this. I don't know how closely you pay attention to the news, but Britain and Scotland have given the green light to start, like,
distributing
for the Pfizer vaccination. And Scotland are apparently going to start giving vaccinations, like, next week.
Wow, okay. Well, hopefully it's good and there's no side effects.
Hopefully. I don't think that'll be an issue. Yeah. Listen to the Staff and Graph podcast, which I should plug this because I did do something quite funny. And I will just say 33-36.
33-36 into the episode?
I'm just going to say 33-36 and leave it at that.
Well, that's what it means, folks. 33-36 into the episode.
I'd recommend starting a few minutes earlier, just so you get a little bit of context.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd also recommend you listen to it.
Were you on it, or were you like?
I wasn't on it.
You edited it?
Yes, I did some. I made it. I had an accident, shall we say?
Oh, okay.
I accidentally messed with the audio a little bit.
Interesting. Okay.
And as we were recording, I got a guy tweeting at me saying you loved it. Shout out to Tim Keller.
Nice.
But
I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Is it the last one? The last one you uploaded?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Christmas episode.
Okay.
If you get there, you can maybe play it on here if you really want, but you don't have to.
I can do it.
If you want to, I don't really care.
Right now.
I don't think Rachel or Mike would have an issue with that.
With the copyright?
Yeah, they shouldn't hit me with that. Yeah, that's actually, I think I did mention that when they came back. They're now back fully. They're doing every Wednesday. They're uploading an episode, so I edit Tuesday nights. They're taking a break the week after Christmas. Just recoup a little bit. But yeah, they're fully back. They're doing long episodes too. Like this one was 90
minutes.
2 to 93 minutes.
Yeah. 98 minutes, I think.
98? What?
I think so.
Hold up.
No way. Math is 98? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 93.
Math hasn't been good today, but I think it's 98.
I can check. Well, either way, they're recording long episodes now.
So more
2
work
hours,
for you.
5 minutes. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. Hour 39. Oh, yeah, so you were right. Whoops, my bad. Yeah, so 99 minutes. Last week's was with Mike Johnson, former NHL player, who does work for the NHL Network and I believe TSN, Between the Benches. And he was a really, really good guest. I'd recommend going and checking that episode out. Okay. But they're putting some very good content out, and I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to do with the audio and what they've been able to do with hosting and putting the podcast together.
All right.
So shout out to Rachel and Mike. Hopefully we get them on at some point because I'd love to talk to them
That'd be
about
cool.
their careers. Yeah, maybe that's a Christmas special we do. We can think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool idea we had, yeah. Or Connor had. Christmas songs or movies or just talking about
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
We're gonna do a Christmas based episode. So I know Rachel likes Christmas, so maybe I talk to her about that.
Who
but
doesn't like
she's
Christmas?
also like she sent me this last night what she fully does. Because she does a lot. This should be all publicly available, I think. So I shouldn't be exposing her that much. So she is a TA, a full-time graduate student, employee for York University,
Mhm.
podcast host and producer, and she does consulting work.
Wow, she's busy.
She's a very busy human being. I asked her for her tips and how to do all of that,
Yeah.
and she said her secret is she actually doesn't sleep. So there's that.
Wait, really?
No, she sleeps. It's like
Okay,
she gets
okay.
very little sleep.
Oh, yeah,
It was
true.
a joke. But yeah, I really look up to her, and Mike is one of the best people. Like, genuinely one of the best people. I followed him on Instagram today, and he followed me back within 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, he follows me on Twitter, which is great. Although there's no way anybody wants to see my tweets. All I do is tweet about MLS. Which you can check out my Twitter at CWGSOMERVILLE.
Mhm.
And you can check out Aiden on Twitter. Oh, wait.
That
He
Aiden's
still
still a
hasn't
fan.
done.
I just need to tweet something, but like I don't want to just tweet anything. I'm like waiting for like the right moment.
Just tweet out a podcast. Tweet out this podcast.
But like it's gonna be my first. Actually, I think I might have a tweet that I said a while ago. So there might, I could just tweet out a podcast. You're right. Maybe I'll wait for something though.
Save it for the Christmas episode.
Yeah, maybe I'll see. I should have done it for like the Patricia firing or something. I could still do it, but yeah,
Well,
stay tuned. Turn your notifications
speaking-
on so you don't miss it when I tweet something.
Yes, speaking of the Christmas episode, I did want to send this out to everybody else. In terms of guests, who would you potentially like to have on? Who would you like to see again?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to see Zach? Would you like to see Jackson? Skyler again? Jelani? Do you want us to try to get some new people on?
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Teachers?
Teachers? Yeah, we could potentially get some of our profs on.
Ryan Sykes.
Ryan? We got to get Ryan on at some point.
Oh yeah.
That'd be so good. That'd be such a good episode.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
We got some big plans for this podcast in terms of what we want to do with it. So keep an eye out on our social medias and potentially the big league social media when I have more time to try stuff when I'm not piling or drowning in work. So let's wrap this podcast up and finish off by talking about some other stuff really that do with the Raptors and finally NHL. We're not going to do the, how do I put this nicely?
Well, you just don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, we just don't need to talk about it. We can ignore it because the owners are a-holes and Gary Bettman sucks. But Raptors draft picks, the 29th pick, they took point guard Malachi Flynn from San Diego State. He averaged 17.6 points per game and 5.1 assists per game. Sounds pretty okay. Sounds like he fits the Raptors mold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly haven't really looked too much into these guys. All I know is that this Jalen Harris guy looks a lot like Joseph. They're like twins.
Does he?
I don't know if you've seen him.
Let me look it up.
It's like
Give me a second.
exactly Joseph. I tagged him in it as soon as I saw it. Like,
When was he taken? Let's talk about the pick a
was
little
it
bit.
second round, I believe?
Yes, there's only 2 rounds in. Dude, there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. Come on.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, second round.
Ugh.
Yeah, what do you
Yes,
mean?
Second round.
I wasn't assuming there was more. I wasn't sure if it was first or second.
Why are there so many Jalen Harrises? Different Jalen Harris pictures. Arkansas Razorbacks.
It should be
He's
the
from
first
Nevada,
thing that
right?
pops up. Yeah, he was selected 59th overall. 6'5", 195 pounds. Apparently, he's a scoring machine. So
That's a good
that's
sign.
what the Raptors need, more scoring. And apparently he's versatile. There's a quote saying that I think that's one thing that Toronto can expect from me, and is somebody that can do a lot of everything. So that's good because we might need you to play different positions.
Yes, he's a combo guard, I believe officially, but I'm sure he can play in other positions.
Have you
We
seen
don't
his
know
face
anything
yet?
about. Yes, I looked it up. It's not really like Joseph.
Really?
No,
Looks exactly like him.
I think that's a massive reach, but okay.
Put glasses on him,
Um,
and it's exactly the same person.
I still think it's a bit of a reach.
Okay.
Let's talk hockey and wrap up because
Yeah.
again, I have to
We
go
gotta head
home.
out. Yeah.
CBA is blowing up, but we're not going to talk about that because stuff is breaking all the time. And Gary Bettman did an interview just as we were recording, and he lied through his teeth continuously. Kind of. Kendall Coyne English. Kendall Coyne Schofield was hired by Chicago as a player development coach and youth hockey growth specialist. Great.
Great.
Continue to hire women in sports and hockey, and continue to hire non-white guys who are a part of the hockey men's circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hire people who aren't in
Diversify.
that bubble.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Bring in analytics people, please.
It's good to see.
It's good to see. Yeah. Not good to see Jake DeBrusk signing a 2-year, $3.75 million deal with Boston, but
Yeah.
it
okay.
is what it is.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he didn't resign there, I guess, but I mean, nobody would have expected that. So, yeah, only 2 more years though. Maybe he's gone after that, or maybe they trade him.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. More not good news. 4 Golden Knight players tested positive for COVID, and a significant number of the Blue Jackets players tested positive for COVID. So,
Yeah.
as NHL teams return to their markets, they are testing positive, and that is not a good thing, and hopefully not a sign of things to come with the upcoming season.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny
Let me
Boychuk.
open.
Johnny.
I'm gonna look. I'm deciding on whether or not we should talk about the NWHL stuff.
Okay.
Yes, we should talk about this.
Okay.
The NWHL is doing a bubble.
Right.
I don't know if you saw this.
I did see that. Yeah. It's a good call. It's a good call. They're learning from other leagues. Yeah, it's not a very long season.
No.
So it should work out pretty well. Do we know where it is?
It is in Lake Placid at Herb Brooks Arena.
Okay.
They released pictures today of the ice and the logo, and it looks very clean.
Is it like is it an older arena? Like it's nostalgic? I don't know. I've seen some photos, I think.
Yeah, so this is their official tweet announcing it. The National Women's Hockey League today announced a plan to play the upcoming season and 2021 Isabel Cup playoffs at the 1980 rink Herb Brooks Arena in Lake Placid, New York. So it is a little bit old.
Yeah, I guess that's what 1980 means.
Yeah. It's just cool.
Yeah.
I think it's just cool. And I'm pulling up this Haley Salvian tweet now to see whether or not it's relevant to our conversation, or if we should just talk about the PWHPA. And
the Olympic Games were played there. It looks like too, in 1980. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a lot more information in this Haley Salvian tweet thread. So the NWHL has announced plans to hold the 2020-2021 season in a bubble from January 23rd to February 5th. All 6 teams will play 5 games plus playoffs with no fans in attendance. There will be routine COVID testing. Players will be paid full salaries despite the shortened season. This is all from Haley Salvian's tweet thread. Players were given the opportunity to opt out of the tournament and still receive their complete salaries. That's huge.
Yeah. That's big. Yeah, that's humongous.
because a lot of these people are full-time employees of different companies and have full-time jobs. So they couldn't necessarily do that. The league said more than 95% of players committed to play. So that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
The league had previously announced tentative plans for a delayed season, but have shifted their focus to this bubble. So they were going to do a season, decided against it. The season will still need final approvals before puck can drop, and some protocols are subject to change depending on the COVID situation by January. So
Yeah, things could change.
good for the NWHL.
It's good that it's only like a week and a bit. So, players aren't going to be like too, I guess, bored of just being in a bubble. Like it's only a couple weeks and you're playing meaningful games. Like only 5 games for regular season. That means that every game counts. Every game is worth a lot. And I assume that these games will be streamed, or maybe
Yes.
will they be televised at all? You think maybe Sportsnet puts on like a playoff game?
They have a deal with Twitch, so all games are broadcast on Twitch, on their Twitch channel.
Okay, that's good. That's good for the players to know too. Like they're not just gonna go there and nobody's gonna be watching them from home. Like they're gonna have a platform that'll be aired on. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put that well. It's a very good situation for the league, and I think they're handling it really well. But we'll wrap up the podcast with the PWHPA and then Johnny Boychuk. With the PWHPA, we don't really need to talk much about it. They've announced their Toronto-based team, the actual team and the name of it. They'll be called Team Sonnet because Sonnet is also now the official insurance partner of the PWHPA. So shout out to Sonnet for backing women's hockey and the PWHPA movement and everything that has to do with that. And good luck to the PWHPA in terms of playing games this season. But we'll wrap up with the Johnny Boychuk news. So, bit of a lowdown. Basically, Boychuk got hit in the eye area with a skate at the end, like the day before the NHL season got canceled. He had like 90-something stitches in around his eye to fix it, to close the cut.
Yeah. But he did.
It's a sketchy situation.
He did come back and he did play in.
Yes.
I don't know how many games he ended up playing, but I think in that final series against Tampa, I'm pretty sure he was in the lineup and playing for them, and he looked okay. Yeah, like you said, it is kind of odd because he did play in the bubble. And my friend texted me right when this news broke, and he said the first thing Lou Lamoriello did this morning was punch Johnny Boychuk in the eye because of the contract. So yeah, there might be something else to it. He was put on like Robidahl Island. He was just forced to retire. It sucks for him. He had a good career. I think he won the cup with Boston in 2011. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he was always a good stay-at-home defensive defenseman, and I think his days with the Bruins will be looked back on, and I'm sure the Bruins will honor him when the time comes and when there's fans in the stands again. So it was a good career for him, but it's unfortunate that it has to come to an end in this way.
Yeah, very good career for him, and something he can look back on positively. It sucks it has to end this way, and I think it's sketchy at best in terms of this being a serious actual injury, like the Marian Hossa. I'm suddenly allergic to my equipment story.
It could be real. It could be real. We shouldn't be laughing.
No,
yes.
It could 100% be real, and I could be misinterpreting this, but I'm pretty sure he said back in during the bubble or before the bubble or somewhere in between there, is I was at almost 100% and he can continue his NHL career. So I think there's a little bit of interesting fun stuff in there. But I think we'll end it there.
Yeah. There's been more Twitter back and forth between Logan Paul and Evander Kane. Logan Paul tweeted out a picture of Evander Kane in his Sharks uniform, saying "at Evander Kane, this you?" ? And then Evander Kane tweeted back at Logan Paul with a picture of KSI's arm being raised and Logan's disappointed face, saying "should be easy then. Is this you?" ? So I don't know. It could happen. They both seem committed. So
The Sharks just have to sign off on
right.
it. Which
Yeah. True.
I find that unlikely at best.
Right.
But yeah, we will follow that drama and continue to follow that drama, as well as LiAngelo Ball signing with the Detroit Pistons, because congratulations to LeVar Ball for getting every single one of his sons into the NBA.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening. This was officially our last show this semester on Spirit Live. We hope to be back next semester.
Yep.
Right now, in terms of the holidays, we plan to continue uploading. We might take a break next week, or we might upload the day after. We will see what happens and what our
let's see what our exam schedule is like. I don't think I have an exam on Wednesday. I'm currently scheduled to work on Thursday next week, and I told my manager I can't work because I have an exam. So I got to get out of that. Yeah. So
that's a problem.
Yeah, no, that's a big problem. I know. I've been trying to contact him, so we're in talks.
We're in talks.
Yeah.
Nice. But yes, keep an eye out on our socials in terms of whether or not we'll upload an episode. We shall see. I don't have an exam Wednesday, but I do have an assignment due Wednesday, sort of tentatively. I can either upload it Wednesday if I want the feedback, or I can upload it on the 13th if I don't want feedback. So we'll see what I decide. But yeah, we'll let you know. We have a Christmas episode planned. If you have anything you want us to talk about, Christmas related, we're going to try to keep it sports themed, because Aiden is actually, can we tell people this?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right. Aiden is planning on doing a Christmas episode for Unlimited.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do Christmas twice, or we didn't want to have him do Christmas twice.
I think we can definitely do a bit of separation. Like, I can do music, and for the big league we can do movies, but I think the plan is to also have you on for the Unlimited podcast too, so it'll be good. So
it'll be my debut for the Unlimited podcast.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of really cool ideas, which I hope will work out. I'm going to do a bunch of research for this. Like, I'm actually going to put in a ton of work for this
I got to
episode.
as well. I probably have to watch a bunch of Christmas movies or do some trivia or something.
I don't know if I'll be making it Christmas movie related. We'll have to wait and see. I have some ideas, and I don't want. So I'm taking this episode fully on because I don't want anyone to know anything.
And I guess you want our video on for this episode too, right? There's gonna be something. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I see.
Because I'd ideally like to share my screen at some points.
Interesting. Okay. This should be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun, so keep an eye out for that. We'll probably upload that just before Christmas.
Yeah.
But if you're a student and you're listening to this, good luck with your exams. Genuinely. This time of year is incredibly stressful for a lot of people. I am lucky I don't have any exams, but I know a lot of my friends are dealing with a lot of work right now. So remain positive. If you don't do well in a class, it's not the end of the world, honestly. You may think about it forever, but I can promise you not everybody else will. And just keep your head up. You can rebound, and it's not life or death. So, yeah, just stay positive, stay happy. If you need to talk to anybody, my DMs are open on Twitter, which you can message me at CWG Somerville, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you and listen to you. But yes, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Maybe not. Maybe the week after. We'll see. But yes, thank you to Skyler again. All of his links will be down below. And we will see you all next time.